The little girl coldly claimed that no one could ever pull out the iron nail in her body. But the man wasn't buying it. He boldly reached straight for her chest. The Exorcism Bureau's director, standing nearby, nearly had a heart attack. Because to normal people, that little girl wasn't a girl at all. She was a murderous ghost drenched in blood. As it turns out, the man was a long-term resident of Qingshan Psychiatric Hospital, a full-blown mental case. In his twisted little world, he was the universe's greatest warrior, Captain Whole Demon. His yellow flip-flops? Top-tier communication devices, obviously. That day, like always, he was practicing his flying skills in the yard. But he slipped, crashed, and face-planted hard into the ground. Out cold, just lying there like a squash frog. When he finally came to, he noticed a glowing green water orb slowly oozing out of his chest. The water orb introduced itself as the most noble undead system in history. It had lost its body due to certain unfortunate incidents. So now, it had to attach itself to someone with exceptionally strong mental energy to slowly recover. According to it, being chosen was the greatest blessing of Chun Zhua's pitiful life. But Chun Zhua didn't even blink. He just crawled under the bed, searching for his flip-flops. Then he smacked the orb aside like a bug. Damn mosquito, don't block me. I'm absorbing the essence of the sun and moon. The undead system almost exploded on the spot from rage. But just as it was about to strike back, it suddenly sensed something approaching. Moments later, a woman's blood-curdling scream echoed from outside the room. Chun Zhua and his fellow patient instantly dove to the window, excited to watch the show. There in the hallway, a creepy ghost woman was slowly crawling their way. But before she could get closer, she froze, absolutely stunned by what she saw. Chun Zhua and the other guy stared at her deadpan. New patient? Gotta say, pretty unique look. The undead system panicked and shouted, "That thing's a tier 2 vengeful ghost, called a Nuba. She's here to feed." But Chun Zhua just got angrier. Screaming like that in the middle of the night? Don't you know it's quiet hours? The ghost woman let out an even louder, ear-splitting shriek in response. The very next second, bam, she phased right through the door and rushed inside. She crash-landed smack onto Chun Zhua's bed. Water from her decaying body soaked straight into the sheets. Chun Zhua's eyes popped wide open. Without a word, he ripped off his flip-flop and slapped her across the face. "I'm on cleaning duty tomorrow, damn it." Then he shoved her straight out the door and shouted after her, "I don't care if you're new here. When you step into this ward, you follow the rules." But soon, the entire hallway was covered in sticky black water. Chun Zhua's veins popped with rage. "How many times do I have to say it? I'm on cleaning duty tomorrow." Then he went full berserk mode, slapping the ghost nonstop for a solid 2.5 minutes. While slapping, he barked, "Clean the damn floor. You hear me?" The ghost Nuba, her face swollen like a steamed bun, curled up in the corner and silently nodded. Meanwhile, the whole thing was being broadcast live on security monitors. The director of the Exorcism Bureau stared at the screen, deep in thought. "Looks like we don't need to send a team this time." Then he wiped a tear from the corner of his eye. "We've found a wild cultivator." Without hesitation, he decided to recruit Chun Zhua immediately. The very next morning, as the sun rose, Director Zhou rushed straight to the mental hospital. After hearing the story, the hospital director personally led them to Chun Zhua's room. Director Zhou cleared his throat, ready to deliver a perfectly rehearsed recruitment speech. But the moment he saw Chun Zhua, he froze. This guy looked even crazier than the average lunatic. And yet, he had definitely beaten the crap out of a tier 2 ghost the night before. So Zhou tried to ask politely, "Mr. Chun, do you remember what happened last night?" But Chun Zhua just stared blankly, directly at her chest. Suddenly, he lit up and shouted, "Miss, your 2 little balls look sick. Quick, come here. I'll take a look for you." As he lunged forward with both hands, Officer Zhang screamed and backed away, arms clutched tightly across her chest. The hospital director rushed in and yanked Chun Zhua back. "I'm so sorry. He has no concept of gender. He really didn't mean to offend anyone." Director Zhou winced. Yep, this guy was definitely nuts. With a heavy heart, he shelved the recruitment plan, for now. But he knew one thing for sure. Spirits like Nuba don't let things go. She didn't feed last night, so tonight she'd be back for blood, which meant no one was leaving the hospital just yet. As night fell, the asylum grew eerily cold. Shadows crept along the walls. The lights flickered like they were holding their breath. And right on schedule, Nuba returned, her face twisted with hunger. But this time, she brought backup, one of the top 10 most dangerous ghosts in existence, the Manhwa. Director Zhou's heart dropped into his stomach. This wasn't just a threat, it was a crisis. He shouted in the comms, "Full alert! Do not let anything happen to Chunjua." The team scrambled to activate their strongest defense, a solar array infused with holy seals. But one whiff of male boss breath, 10 years unbrushed, and the array shattered like wet paper. The ghosts advanced without resistance, gliding straight to Chunjua's door. Inside, Chunjua sat cross-legged on his bed, eyes closed in deep concentration. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open, a grin tugging at his lips. "Took you long enough." The next second, both ghost spirits burst through the door, shrieking at the top of their lungs with a chilling wail. But Chunjua didn't flinch, not even a little. He calmly walked right past them, glancing outside with confusion. "Where's my alien contact? Didn't headquarters say they were coming to bring back the brave Agent Hold demon tonight?" Then, as if nothing was wrong, he turned around and headed back inside. He grabbed his trusty flip-flop communicator and yelled into it, "Agent Hold Demon to HQ. Did my pickup squad get lost in the galaxy again?" Suddenly, he pointed at Nuba and snapped, "You again? Always ruining my missions. Don't you have anything better to do?" That was all it took. Nuba froze, terror flooding back in her mind. She instinctively ducked behind Manhwa, trembling like a leaf. Manhwa inhaled sharply, his chest expanding like a balloon about to burst. In the next instant, a wave of ghostly energy surged toward Chunjua like a tsunami. At the last possible moment, the undead system materialized, throwing itself in front of Chunjua and taking the full brunt of the attack. A single gunshot shattered the silence. The Exorcism Bureau reinforcements had finally arrived, but even with all their weapons and spells, they were no match for Manhwa's ferocity. They were getting torn apart. Inside the room, Chunjua stared at his flip-flop, face dark as a storm cloud. It had been corroded by ghost sludge. His only link to headquarters was gone. His rage boiled over. He couldn't hold it in any longer. In a split second, a monstrous force erupted inside his body, like a volcano going nuclear. The undead system didn't hesitate. It kicked his body into full combat mode, enhancing every cell. With a single punch, Chunjua sent Manhwa flying over 100 meters like a rag doll. Before the ghost could even land, Chunjua launched into a devastating follow-up, the legendary elephant kick, straight to the chest. Manhwa collapsed to his knees, trembling and begging for mercy. But it was far too late. Chunjua activated the runes the undead system had carved into his palm and flung them forward like a divine judgment. In an instant, Manhwa disintegrated into ash. Gone. Erased. Only Nuba remained, curled up on the floor, hugging her head, shaking uncontrollably. But Chunjua didn't look the slightest bit proud of his victory. Instead, he broke down, running around like a madman, screaming, "My communicator's dead. I can't get back to my planet. I'm stranded forever." Director Zhou had been watching the entire scene through the surveillance cameras, and by the end, he was completely stunned, eyes wide and jaw dropped. The next day, he stormed back into the hospital determined. "No matter what, I'm taking Chunjua with me." Right in front of the hospital director, he broke down sobbing, full-on dramatic tears. "You don't understand. I'm desperate. This country needs people like him. With Chunjua on our side, I swear, I can protect so many more lives." Just then, a police officer kicked open the door and barged in. "Bad news. Something's gone wrong in South District again." The room instantly fell into awkward silence. The dramatic moment was completely ruined. The officer quickly realized the mood shift and straightened his tone. Ahem. Reports confirm that the killer little girl is set to appear in South District tonight. We must act immediately. As evening approached, Director Zhou finally convinced the hospital to release Chenjua temporarily. But a new problem emerged. How the hell were they supposed to actually transport this madman? In the end, Zhou made a tough call. Just tie him up and drag him to South District. They'd figure out later. But even tied up, Chenjua wouldn't yield. He shouted defiantly, "You can't stop me from contacting Alien HQ. I'm not done with my mission." With no other option, Director Zhou stepped up personally. "Great warrior, whole demon. I am your alien comrade, Bendy Knee 7. Sure enough, Chenjua immediately calmed down. But then he pointed at Director Zhou and declared, "Zongo Bongo, Blip Bap Bonk." Zhou froze. That was clearly a secret code. And if he remembered right, Director Lee once said no one had ever cracked it. So Zhou took a gamble and replied loudly, "Haha, salute to you, brave agent." He held his breath, waiting for a reaction. Chunj was slowly raised a clenched fist. Planet's greatest warrior hold demon and Bendy Knee 7. Connection established. Zhou nearly cried from relief. "We did it. Finally. That was way too hard." Then he launched into full improv mode, serious as ever. "Comrade Whole Demon, cute little humans are under attack from haunted spirits. HQ has assigned you a new mission. Exterminate all ghosts." Chunju's eyes lit up with fanatic zeal. Whole Demon accepts the mission. No questions asked. Without delay, they headed to the room with the thickest ghost energy. As soon as they stepped in, Chunjua got distracted by a toy on the shelf, staring at it like it held the secrets of the universe. Just then, one of the team members whispered, "Danger's approaching." Hearing that, Chunjua's face darkened. He assumed the white-coated villains were here to drag him back to the asylum. He stormed over and yanked the door open, only to find a little girl standing outside, hand raised, about to knock. The people behind Chenjua immediately recognized her, the infamous Death Girl, rumored to have taken over a dozen lives. They screamed and scrambled backward in panic. But Chenjua didn't flinch. He casually placed a hand on the girl's head and glanced around. "Huh, no lab coats. So, you must be one of us," he declared, totally mistaking her for an ally. The girl raised her dirty rag doll and whispered eerily, "Want to play with me?" Chenjua stared at the doll, disgusted. Then, without hesitation, he smacked it out of her hands. "EW. Filthy. That's gross." The girl's face twisted with fury. A wave of malevolent energy burst out around her like a storm. But Chenjua, ever the lunatic, just grabbed her by the wrist and led her inside. "Forget the rag doll. I'll show you something way cooler." With complete seriousness, he reached into his pants, and under the horrified gaze of everyone present, pulled out a spinning music box. "This baby plays music when it spins. Super fun. I'm just not sure if it glows in the dark. Hold on. I'll shut the windows and find out." The girl stared blankly at him. No need for that. With a snap of her fingers, the entire room plunged into pitch-black darkness. Seeing the room go dark, Chenjua had a genius idea. He grabbed a bedsheet and threw it over himself like a cloak. Behold, stealth mode. Then he picked up the little girl, still wrapped in the sheet, and proudly marched her over to the police officers. The moment they saw him, panic erupted, because in their eyes, Chunjua wasn't holding a little girl. He was carrying a full-blown skeleton. Director Zhou took one look and passed out cold. Meanwhile, Chunjua beamed with pride, hugging the girl. Success. Camouflage technique. Flawless. But then he noticed something strange. There was a long iron nail sticking out her chest. "Hey, what's with the spike? Who did this to you?" The girl replied softly, "It's a curse. I also have 5 wooden ones elsewhere." Chunjua's face twisted with rage. What kind of twisted hospital would do this? "I'll tear them apart and feed them to the dogs." The girl whispered, "It was my parents." Chunjua froze. The madness faded from his face, replaced by something almost human. Want to pull it out? Must hurt like hell, having it in all the time. Without waiting for an answer, he reached for her chest, ready to pull the nail out. Director Zhou, just regaining consciousness, opened his eyes to see this, and nearly died again. Is he seriously groping her now? But Chenjua was already tugging with all his strength. No matter how hard he pulled, the nail didn't budge an inch. Seeing Chunjua struggle, the undead system finally sighed. Ugh, fine. You've earned a bonus round. A sudden surge of power flowed through him, and the iron nail popped free with ease. But the moment it was removed, the little girl's rage exploded. A shockwave blasted out from her, sending Chunjua flying into the wall with a loud crash. Her face twisted in fury as she lunged straight at him. But Chunjua managed to grab her hand midair, locking fingers like it was some kind of weird dance move. "Hold still. I'm halfway done. Just a few more to go," he shouted, yanking at the remaining wooden spikes. When he finally pulled out the last nail from the back of her head, her sealed spirit instantly broke free. A monstrous wave of energy burst from within her, far stronger than before. Chunjua, being the closest, was blown away like a rag doll. He was seconds away from a full-on faceplant and probable death, when suddenly, a streak of red light shot past Director Zhou. It caught Chunjua midair, saving him from certain doom. Then, still carrying him like a sack of potatoes, it soared back down to safety. Chunjua, feeling heroic, puffed up his chest. "Hey, I think I can fly now." But before he could finish, the red light slashed his finger. "Alog, what the hell? That hurts like crazy. Are you trying to kill me?" The little girl slowly stepped forward and picked up the music box Chunjua had given her. "A long time ago," she said softly, "an old lady told me, if a ghost wants to stay with a human without cursing their luck, they can form a binding ghost pact." She gently took Chunjua's hand. "So let's use the first gift you ever gave me and make a pact." Then, without hesitation, she pressed his bloodied finger to the center of her forehead. Instantly, a torrent of dark energy surged outward, only to collapse back in her body, sealed completely within. Her appearance began to shift. Her once terrifying face softened, transforming into something peaceful and calm. She turned and gave the group behind her a polite, graceful bow. Then, in the blink of an eye, she turned into a stream of black light and vanished into Chunjua's back. The exorcist, and now, some insane dude from a mental hospital had just casually tamed her like it was no big deal. Director Zhou didn't hesitate. He waved his hand. "Everyone back to HQ. We need to file this immediately." Director Zhou stood beside the sleeping Chunjua, gazing at him with a strangely affectionate smile, like a proud father admiring his weirdest child. He even prepared a special love lunch and left a note decorated with a little red flower. The aroma hit Chunjua like a truck. He shot awake instantly, drooling. The note read, "Headquarters extends its highest praise to the brave warrior, Whole Demon." Touched, Chunjua dove into the food, only to immediately choke on the second bite. Wheezing, he stumbled over to a female officer's desk, eyes locked on her drink like it was holy nectar. "I'm dying. Can this save me?" he gasped, dramatically pointing to the cup. The officer smiled politely while quietly taking a few steps back. "Sure, go ahead." After all, a guy in hospital pajamas suddenly appearing at her desk wasn't exactly normal. But Chunjua wasn't about to just freeload. He whipped out a piece of paper and started scribbling furiously. Then he shoved it into her hands like he was handing off a sacred artifact. "This isn't just paper. It's a charm I made myself. It draws in cosmic energy and will protect you and your descendants for 3 generations. Treasure it." The officer stared blankly at the charm, which featured a cartoon fish blowing bubbles. But one of the veteran officers who had seen Chunjua in action immediately perked up. "Dude, that's legit." Moments later, a line formed outside the director's office. Cops started queuing up with snacks and drinks, all hoping to trade for one of Chunjua's mystical bubblefish talismans. And Chunjua, he didn't get tired of it one bit. Each officer got a personalized charm, lovingly drawn to match their spiritual profile. Just as the trading frenzy hit peak chaos, a sharp cough cut through the room. Director Zhou had returned, paperwork in hand, looking as stern as ever. He scowled at the crowd. "What is this nonsense? Back to work, all of you." But the moment they cleared out, his entire demeanor flipped like a light switch. He shuffled over to Chunjua, smiling like a bootlicker, and handed him a clean sheet of paper. Then he discreetly pulled a wad of cash from his pocket and offered it with both hands. Chunjua raised an eyebrow, impressed. Now that's what I call dedication. He sat down and got to work, channeling every bit of his chaotic genius into the drawing. Finally, he handed over a masterpiece titled Turtle Playing in Water. Director Zhou accepted it like it was a sacred scroll, carefully tucking it into his breast pocket with the reverence of a holy relic. Then he cleared his throat again and got serious. We got a case. Serial murders near East Bridge. HQ specifically requested you and me. Chunjua shot up from the couch and snapped into a salute. Agent Hold, Demon reporting for duty. Mission accepted. The team soon arrived at the crime scene beneath East Bridge. The entire area was cordoned off with police tape. Chunjua charged in confidently, ready to uncover clues and save the day. But 2 steps in, his foot slipped and he face-planted straight into the ground. Hard. Nearby officers immediately snapped to attention. Is he under attack? Director Zhou rushed over, only to realize the guy had just slipped like a total idiot. He hurriedly helped Chunjua up, dabbing at the nosebleed with a tissue. But while everyone was distracted by Chunjua's over-the-top wailing, a massive, white, tiger-shaped apparition silently materialized behind them. Fortunately, the death girl sensed something was off. She shot out of Chunjua's back, hovering midair like a ghostly alarm. The moment the others saw her, they nearly screamed, "She's back! Run!" But as they turned to flee, they were met face-to-face with the spectral tiger, its eyes glowing and locked onto them. The undead system finally spoke up, sounding way too casual. That one's called Tiger Soul. Mid-tier wraith. Tracks prey using the scent of blood. I'm guessing your nosebleed lured it in. Though still a low-tier spirit herself, the death girl didn't hesitate. She flew forward and planted herself in front of Chunjua, ready to protect him. The death girl unleashed a burst of ghost energy, wrapping a chain of spectral force around Tiger Soul's neck, trying to fling it away. But the tiger was too powerful. It roared and whipped her straight into the sky like a rag doll. The others saw it happen and instantly lost hope. If she couldn't handle it, they were screwed. But when Tiger Soul's massive strike slammed into them, nothing happened. Not a scratch. Turns out, Chunjua's goofy talismans had activated, forming a golden protective barrier around the group. And not just one layer. These charms stacked, fusing into a massive dome of glowing light. Realizing its attacks were useless, Tiger Soul backed off, preparing to retreat. That's when a hand slowly extended from the crowd. Flick! A crisp forehead flick landed right on the tiger's skull. It was none other than Chunjua, still in his hospital gown, looking dead serious. Going somewhere, that tiny gesture broke something inside the beast. Tiger's soul snapped. Its power tripled as it entered full-on rage mode. In seconds, it shattered the golden barrier into 1,000 shards. Then it charged straight at Chunjua, eyes blazing with fury. But just before it struck, the death girl came soaring back, spectral chains flying from her hands as she latched onto Tiger's soul once again. This time, she gave it everything she had, screaming at the top of her lungs, "You can't eat my master! If you're hungry, go eat one of them." The death girl flung Tiger Soul like a rag doll, right into a squad of fleeing officers who screamed like children. But Chunjua wasn't done. He casually strolled around to the tiger's rear like he was inspecting livestock. Then, without warning, he yanked a tuft of fur off its butt. First time I've seen a cat this big. Not using it as my noble steed would be a crime against the galaxy's strongest warrior, Agent Hold Demon. Tiger Soul let out a furious roar and lunged at him with everything it had. Thankfully, the undead system yoinked Chunjua into the air just in time. Dangling midair, Chunjua screamed, "I was going to give you a home, and this is how you repay me." Then he dropped like a meteor, slamming a fist into the tiger's head with a dramatic meteor punch. The beast stumbled, spinning in circles, completely disoriented. But Chunjua wasn't finished. "Take this, and this. King Turtle Combo Punch." The onlookers were frozen in place, utterly speechless. One officer muttered, "Is he okay?" Another replied, "Definitely not. But it's working." Chunshua climbed onto the dazed tiger's back and slapped its head. You submit or what? Tiger Soul instantly raised a little white flag in surrender. Hell yeah, Chunshua shouted. New skill unlocked, beast taming. He turned and called out, Hey, Death Girl, come meet your new furry roommate. Then he instructed the tiger like a circus trainer. Spin twice. Let her see how obedient you are. With that, he pointed toward the horizon. Let's fly. The ghost tiger soared into the sky, carrying both of them like some cursed fairy tale. In seconds, they vanished beneath the blood-red moon. Back on the ground, Director Zhou stood in stunned silence before shouting, Don't just stand there. Go after him. Find that lunatic. Meanwhile, in the sky, a system message popped up in Chunjua's view. /beast taming in progress. Target, Tiger Soul, Rage Form. Please wait. As they soared through the sky, Chunjua gave Tiger Soul a pat on the head. Hey, big guy. Think you can go faster? Like rocket ship fast. Tiger Soul, still furious about being ridden like a common pet, snarled and took off in a rage-fueled burst of speed that nearly launched Chunjua and the Death Girl into the stratosphere. But with some chaotic yelling and questionable navigation, they finally crash-landed at, of all places, the psychiatric hospital. The moment they touched down, Chunjua yawned. Nice. Nap time. Tiger Soul's ears perked up. His master was distracted. This was his chance. He quietly began to sneak away. But before he could take 2 steps, Chunjua turned around, made some weird hand gestures in the air, and summoned an invisible leash out of thin air. Just like that, Tiger Soul found himself roped around the neck, dragged back like a naughty puppy. He didn't dare resist. Things only got worse. Chunjua calmly led him to a lamppost and tied the invisible leash to it like he was parking a bicycle. After finishing the knot, Chunjua patted Tiger Soul's forehead. This is your new home now. As long as I, Agent Whole Demon, am here, no one will ever bully you again. But Tiger Soul was a 10,000-year-old apex spirit. He was not moved. The moment Chunjua turned his back, he shot into the air, ready to reclaim his freedom. Just then, the undead system pinged frowny face leash materialization complete, target bound. In a flash, Tiger Soul was yanked midair and slammed into the ground. He lay there defeated, eyes dim, all hope of escape thoroughly extinguished. The next morning, a nurse doing round was stunned to find Chunjua lounging around. Wait, didn't you go to the police station? How are you back already? Chunjua stood tall, chest puffed out. I came back on my own. The nurse glanced down and noticed the cuts on his hand. Her expression shifted. Clearly, he'd been bullied and came back in shame. Chunjua, catching her look, instantly switched to drama mode. No, it's fine, doesn't hurt. I just tripped, that's all. His pitiful tone only convinced her more that he was covering for someone. Meanwhile, the hospital director got wind of Chun Zhua's mysterious return and was absolutely fuming. He dragged director Zhou into the office for a full-volume scolding. Zhou tried to explain, but barely got a few words in. Let me guess, the director snapped. You spent all night searching, only for him to just stroll back into the hospital himself? What do you think I am, a toddler? Zhou and the officers just sighed. That is exactly what happened. Elsewhere, Chunjua was living his best life, sunbathing in the courtyard, fully fed and well-rested. The system saw this as the perfect moment to initiate its 43rd attempt at mental health stabilization, only to get swatted mid-process. Shut up. I'm absorbing solar energy. Attempt number 43. Failed. Again. Just then, Officer Zhang Yuyu strolled up wearing sunglasses. Chunjua recognized her instantly and greeted her with a grin. Yo, little ball. Zhang Yuyu sighed, took off her shades, and sat beside him. You were right that day. I've been at the hospital. I was diagnosed with late-stage breast cancer. She glanced at him. I just came to apologize for the misunderstanding back then. No biggie, Chunjua shrugged. Who cares about stuff like that? He stuck out his hand with a bright smile. From now on, let's be best friends. That finally broke her composure. Tears welled up in her eyes. I don't have it from now on. The doctor said I've only got a few days left, but there's still so much I want to do. I love being a cop. I wanted to protect people in this messed up world full of ghosts and monsters. But I was always the one being protected. And in the end, I can't even protect myself. I'm really not ready to go. Her words hit so hard that Chunjua's brain practically started a short circuit. Then he calmly sat up. TCH. That's it. In front of the mighty star warrior, Dong Dong Demon. It's just a minor bug. He suddenly pulled out a bottle of mineral water. While shaking it violently, he began chanting nonsense. By the power of starlight. Moon essence. Triple soul boost activate. The system, already exhausted by this maniac, reluctantly intervened again, altering the water the moment he stopped shaking it. Chunjue solemnly handed the bottle to her. Drink this. It'll heal you. Trust me, it even works on receding hairlines. Zhang Yuyu took the bottle, and for a moment, she saw a faint red light glinting inside. Before she could ask, Chunjue waved his hands. Chug it. Gotta finish in one go, or it won't work. She hesitated, then went full ton, gulping it down in one breath. The next second, she rolled her eyes back, her whole body convulsing like a Pikachu just zapped her. Chunjue leaned in with sparkling eyes, full of hope. So, you feel it? Tingling limbs? Cleansed soul? Ready to punch cancer in the face? Zhang Yuyu blinked in confusion. Wait, was there sand in that water? I don't really feel any different. But Chunjue looked deadly serious. Your breast cancer is cured. Zhang Yuyu gave a gentle smile, reaching out to pat his head. Well then, thank you. If I get the chance, I'll come visit you again. But the moment she turned away, tears streamed down her cheeks. What am I doing? She thought bitterly. Am I really desperate enough to believe a lunatic's fairy tale? Meanwhile, Chunjue scratched his head, puzzled. Was it really that touching? It was just a bottle of water. Then he stretched his arms wide, basking in the sun like a hero after saving the world. Ah yes, the great Dong Dong Demon, sacrificing himself to heal others. I really am a superhero, quack quack. As Zhang Yuyu walked back, she ran into her supervisor, Director Zhou. He took one look at her puffy, tear-streaked face and spoke with unexpected gravity. I saw your resignation letter, but I'm not accepting it. You've poured your heart into this job since day one. I've seen how genuinely happy you get when a civilian thanks you. That kind of passion can't be faked. And if this job made you sick, then the department has a duty to stand by you. You gave us everything. We won't abandon you. He placed a firm hand on her shoulder. We're exorcists, but more than that, we're family. Just think of it as a long vacation. Director Zhou said warmly. Go anywhere you want, buy whatever you like. The department will cover all your expenses. Then he stood tall and saluted with solemn pride. This is the Exorcist Bureau's official promise to Officer Zhang Yuyu. Zhang Yuyu wiped her tears and returned the salute. Officer Zhang, message received. And just like that, the floodgates reopened. She cried even harder, tears of gratitude, relief, and maybe a little disbelief. After calming her down, Director Zhou turned to Chunjue with a goofy smile and pulled out a gift-wrap box. Chunjue ripped it open and gasped, eyes sparkling. No way, a new planetary signal receiver. I can finally contact Galactic HQ again. My slipper communicator died weeks ago. Zhou patiently leaned over to explain. Okay, first, this is the power button. And no, don't stick it in your ear again like last time. That night, Zhou collapsed in the back of the squad car, finally ready to rest his poor soul. Ping! A video call from Chunjue popped up. That same deranged smile filled the screen. Zhou immediately regretted ever giving him a phone. Before he could even hang up, the ringtone blared again. Dong Dong Demon requesting transmission. Dong Dong 7 here. Currently on a mission. Please hold, but it's urgent. I've uncovered a cosmic truth. Fine. Speak. Get this. 1 + 1 = 2. But you didn't see that coming, Dong Dong 7. The mental hospital was dead silent that night. Lying in bed, Chunjue rolled back and forth, sighing so boring. Hey little ghost, I want to sneak out and play. The death girl popped out of Chunjue's body and gave a big OL okay sign like a ghostly sidekick on a mission. Using her glowing ghost rope like a zip line, Chunjue slid all the way down from the 6th floor like it was mission impossible. Down below, the white tiger was chilling like a lazy house cat until its ears twitched. Something dumb was coming. Boom! Chunjua landed square on its back. The tiger let out a startled meow, and its fur shot up like a porcupine on espresso. And just like that, their nighttime joyride began. Chunjua the Fearless, patrolling the city on his magical feline Uber. Suddenly, the ghost girl froze. Suspicious target spotted at 3 o'clock. They quickly ducked behind a trash bin like a pair of cartoon spies. A worn-out-looking man passed by, carrying a woman tied up with ropes. Her mouth was gagged, and the 3 spirit flames flickering around him were dimming fast. The man trudged forward and made direct eye contact with Chunjua. The tiger broke into a cold sweat and gave its best "I'm just a bush" impression. It practically screamed, "Please don't see me. I'm invisible. I'm invisible." The bound woman writhed in pain, eyes pleading for help. But the man just kept walking, unfazed like this was his Tuesday routine. The moment he passed, Chunjua turned and smacked the tiger upside the head. "Bro, you hiding helps who exactly? We were fully exposed. You dumb, oversized furball. You could have at least growled a warning." The ghost girl suddenly pointed something out. "That guy's 3 soul flames are barely flickering. Even dying people don't burn this dim." Chunjua blinked. "Wait, how come you don't have any soul flames? Did you turn yours off to save electricity?" She rolled her eyes. "Bro, I'm a ghost. Ghosts don't have those." The system chimed in and activated a feature, letting Chunjua see his own soul flames. 3 little torches dancing on his shoulders. "Cool, cool," he muttered, until the ghost girl elbowed him. "Focus. The guy's getting away." Chunjua immediately grabbed his 2 sidekicks, Ghost Girl and Big Cat, and shouted, "Avengers, assemble. We're tailing him." They tracked the shady man all the way to an eerie, run-down courtyard. A few moments later, the door creaked open, and the man walked inside like he'd done this 100 times. Chunjua hurried to follow, but karma struck. He tripped at the threshold and face-planted like a lawn dart. The ghost girl rushed over to pick him up. "Hero dude, can you not die before we save the hostage?" Inside the courtyard, the man carried the bound woman into the house. Suddenly, 3 shadowy figures emerged from the walls, their voices twisted and cold. "What are you betting this time?" The man smirked. "Same as always. My life." One shadow scoffed. "You've barely got any lifespan left. That bet's worth nothing." The man pointed to the unconscious girl. "Add her life into the pot. That should cover it." The icy chill in the air jolted the girl awake. As she opened her eyes, she was met with the silent, cold stares of 3 high-level ghost kings, watching her like a bargaining chip on a poker table. She started struggling, kicking, screaming, but it was useless. The ropes might as well have been made of steel. One of the ghost kings lit 2 candles with a single finger. "Deal accepted. Let the game begin." Another sneered at the man. "How disgusting. Vetting someone else's life just to extend your own pathetic existence." The man, desperate and twitching with nerves, shouted, "Start already. If I lose this, I'm dead anyway." Outside, the undead system's voice rang with panic. "Chunjua, do not go in there. That's a whole other level of danger." But Chunjua just stood up like a movie superhero, pretending to dust off an invisible cape. "I'm a mighty star warrior, Dung Dung Yao. Ghosts, please, I eat hauntings for breakfast." With White Tiger's help, Chunjua stealthily vaulted over the courtyard wall. He immediately darted toward the house like a cartoon burglar. The trio, man, ghost, and tiger, crouched by the window, peeking in like nosy neighbors. Their heads lined up perfectly at the window ledge, unintentionally forming the funniest surveillance squad in history. Inside, the 4 were engrossed in a game of mahjong, tiles clacking rhythmically. One of the ghost queens glanced toward the window. Her eyes narrowed. She noticed something. Meanwhile, the haggard man lost another round. "One more game," he muttered, trembling. His hands shook as he held his tiles. He already knew he was doomed to lose again. Slumped in defeat, he dragged his feet out the door. The 3 flickering flames on his body dimmed until they snuffed out entirely, his life now reduced to embers. Suddenly, a sweet voice behind Chunjua cooed, Hey cutie backslash, no need to hide. Come in and join us. Chunjua, not the least bit scared, scratched his head sheepishly. Sorry about sneaking in uninvited. Without hesitation, he strolled toward the door like he owned the place. Inside, the three Ghost Kings welcomed him with eerily warm smiles. But his grin froze when he spotted the woman on the floor. Now, a shriveled husk of her former self, aged beyond belief. He blinked in confusion, not recognizing the woman he'd just seen earlier. The tall Ghost King chuckled. Forget her. So what do you want to bet? Unlimited riches? A loving wife and kids? Eternal youth? We got you. Chunjua stayed deadly serious. Whatever that last guy bet, I'm betting the same. The Ghost Queen's smile grew sinister. Who bold? He bet his life. So if you lose, both yours and hers are ours backslash. Of course, if you win, you'll be showered with riches and live 100 years. Sound tempting, cutie? Chunjua grinned. I'm in, but we play by my rules. Ever heard of the sacred game of Turtle Draw? He asked seriously. It's the only game officially endorsed by the Galactic Warrior Association. Take a standard deck, toss out the jokers and 3 8s. Only 1 joker and 1 8 remain. Deal the rest evenly. Each round, players draw cards and discard pairs. Whoever ends up with the turtle combo, joker plus 8, loses. Without waiting for approval, he gleefully shuffled the cards and dealt them out. When he looked at his own hand, well, what do you know? Joker and 8 were both staring back at him. The 3 Ghost Kings glanced at him and slowly smirked. First draw went to the tall one. He activated his X-ray vision, expecting to see through the cards like usual. But nothing. They looked like ordinary cards, opaque, unreadable. Forced to guess, he reached out and randomly picked one. The moment his fingers grabbed a 7, the undead system sneakily transformed it into the Joker. The tall ghost blinked. Huh, how did this happen? He immediately sent a telepathic message to the others. Something's wrong with this guy. Stay alert. A few turns later, he had both the Joker and the 8. He passed them to the Lady Ghost, whispering, let him draw them back himself. Soon enough, it was Chunjua's turn to draw. The Lady Ghost smirked confidently. After all, no one had ever beaten the 3 Ghost Kings. Chunjua slowly reached for the card on the left, the Joker. He yanked it out and shouted, I choose you. But the moment he drew the card, it shimmered, transforming into a 3, forming a perfect pair. Calmly, he laid down his last set and declared victory. The Lady Ghost froze. Wait, wasn't that the Joker? How did it turn into a 3? She let out a furious shriek, shedding her human disguise. This lifespan, I worked hard for it. I won't hand it over. The trio instantly assumed Chunjua had come to sabotage them. You're messing with the wrong ghosts, kid. The candles blew out. Bang! The front door slammed shut by itself. The 3 Ghost Kings stormed toward Chunjua, fury pouring from their eyes. Chunjua blinked at the door. Man, windy night, huh? Door just slammed on its own. He casually walked over to open it. But the moment he touched the door, crash! Both panels fell off the hinges. He scratched his head, glancing back sheepishly. Y'all should probably call a contractor. That wasn't me. Swear. The ghosts didn't buy it. With a unified roar, they charged at him in full rage. Just then, the ghost system popped up, barking orders. Little ghost. Big cat. Front and center. In a flash, the white tiger and the little girl appeared inside the room, instantly flipping the power dynamic. The 3 Ghost Kings were stunned, jaws practically hitting the floor. Bro, you had backup this strong. Why didn't you say so earlier? Chunjua casually gave the tiger a forehead flick. Quit yelling. That's rude, you oversized cat. Then he turned to the little girl. Bring out some of my secret snacks. Be a good host. But he whispered, grab the crappy ones. Don't waste the good stuff. The ghost squinted at the tiger. Wait, that's the beast that chased us off East Bridge last time. Chunjua handed out snacks, like a friendly neighbor making amends for breaking someone's door. The ghosts, mouths full of spicy chips, couldn't even get mad anymore. They begrudgingly nodded. Chunjua, delighted, whipped out his phone. Let's play another round. But first, group photo. Standing on a chair, he made the ghosts pose beside him. Say cheese backslash, the ghosts forced awkward smiles, praying this fever dream would end. Meanwhile, Back at the Exorcist Bureau, Chief Zhou had just finished his pile of paperwork and slumped into his chair. He pulled out his phone, ready to doom scroll through memes. First post on his feed, a cheerful pic of Chun Zhua and the three infamous Ghost Kings, captioned, "New friends dragged me into a midnight poker game." Chief Zhou squinted, recognized the ghosts, and immediately fumbled his phone, dropping it right on his groin. Wincing in pain, he scrambled to his computer and yelled, "Where the hell did that lunatic run off to now?" That's when Chief Zhou finally recognized the friendly poker buddies in the photo, none other than the infamous deathbet trio, ranked number 3 on the most wanted list. Realizing the scale of the mess, he slammed the red alarm button. "All units mobilize. Track Chun Zhua immediately and prepare for full extraction." Meanwhile, back at the ghost house, Chun Zhua was chilling, while the three Ghost Kings kept losing round after round. Not only had he won back the kidnapped girl's lifespan, but he was also draining their cultivation like a gotcha whale on payday. The trio exchanged panicked looks. "This dude's not normal. We need to switch strategies, or we're toast." As Chun Zhua reached for the next card, the ghost system suddenly sensed something off. And right on cue, poof, he vanished the moment his fingers touched the deck. When he opened his eyes, he found himself in a crumbling, eerie-looking town. Warning, the ghost system bust. They've accidentally triggered their ghost domain. This place is a construct of their past memories. If you don't escape soon, you're stuck here for good. Chun Zhua responded with a casual neat and strolled straight into a dark alley. Inside, a noisy crowd had gathered, jeering at someone. "Dude looks like a walking disease." You could tell he's bad news. Caught stealing and still won't admit it. What a clown. The short guy was curled up on the ground, bruised and beaten, muttering, "I didn't steal anything. I swear." That's when Chun Zhua leapt dramatically into the center of the angry crowd. He struck a pose in front of the trembling man and flashed a devilish grin at everyone around. Then, without warning, he started chanting and dancing like a maniac. "Spirits above, earth below, let him come play cards with me, yo. Sky so kind, ground so sweet, this car bro is my destined meet." While the crowd stood dumbfounded, Chun Zhua grabbed the short guy's hand and bolted out of there. Tears welled up in the short guy's eyes. No one had ever stood up for him before, not even for selfish reasons. After escaping the mob, he gently pulled his hand free, walked up to a crumbling wall, and pushed. It slid open, revealing a glowing portal. Pointing toward it, he looked at Chun Zhua and said, "They're waiting for you on the other side. Go before it's too late." The scene suddenly shifted. Chun Zhua found himself inside a 1920s-style Chinese villa. A refined woman sat quietly, listening to the opera performance echoing from the stage. She gently brought over a cup of tea she had brewed herself. Looking at the opera singer with tenderness, she said, "Take a break, have some tea." Her affection for him was obvious. Suddenly, the main door burst open with a loud crash. A military commander stormed in, flanked by his subordinates. His eyes burned with fury as he shouted at the woman, "You shameless harlot, cheating on me behind my back." Without warning, he slapped her hard across the face. Then, with a furious kick, sent the opera singer flying. "What are you standing around for?" he barked at his men. "Grab these filthy lovebirds now." Meanwhile, Chun Zhua stood among the soldiers, holding a deck of cards, completely baffled. What kind of drama dungeon is this?" The commander glared at the woman. "Zhao Xiaotsui, you sly fox. How'd I never notice? Messing around right under my nose." Zhao Xiaotsui covered her face and played dumb. "General, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just a fragile little woman." Before she could finish, the commander kicked her hard. Still pretending, the opera singer stepped forward, furious. "You coward. Beating a woman. What kind of man are you? You forced her into marriage, abused her every day. Of course, she doesn't love you anymore. You deserve to be cheated on." He wrapped an arm protectively around Xiaotsui. "Don't be scared. I'm here for you." The commander's veins bulged with rage. He pulled out a pistol and snarled, "So in love, huh? Then I'll help you two lovebirds reunite in hell." The gun was aimed right at the singer's head. His finger tightened on the trigger. Just then, BM Chunjua slammed headfirst into the general's waist, sending everyone into shock. The commander flew through the air and crashed to the ground with a scream, several ribs snapping on impact. Chunjua stood tall and barked, "You turtle bastard! I'm going to count to 3. Let my poker buddy go." The commander cursed furiously. "Who the hell are you with? You got a death wish or what?" Chunjua ignored him and started counting, loud and clear. Before he hit 3, the commander lost it. "Grab this lunatic, now!" Chunjua fought back, but he was outnumbered and quickly restrained by the guards. Watching this unfold, Xiao Tsui suddenly burst out laughing. All these years living under the general's shadow, this was the first time she felt such freedom. She clenched her fists. She didn't want to rot away in this cursed courtyard anymore. Looking at the opera singer, she cried, "Changshun, take me with you." He smiled back. "Anything for you." Grabbing a long spear, he declared, "Once I kill the general, you'll finally be free. From today on, you'll be my rightful wife." With that, he charged into the crowd, singing in full opera voice, "The army's rule is full of flaws." He swept the guards aside with a single swing, still singing, crushed the bird's wings, shattered the flower's hope. Chunjua's eyes sparkled. "Damn, this poker buddy is a legend." The ghost system quietly analyzed. This realm was supposed to trap the spirits in their tragic past. But Chunjua's chaotic presence is changing something. Too bad fate isn't so easy to rewrite. Changshuan's spear danced like a dragon, his voice echoing. "If peace can't be found within these walls, then let us soar side by side beyond them." With a final note, he lunged straight at the commander's head, his intent to kill unmistakable. Just as Changshun charged forward, a police officer suddenly burst out of the crowd shouting, "Stop right there." In the blink of an eye, his blade came down. Changshuan's head hit the ground with a thud. Xiao Tsui collapsed in grief, eyes brimming with hatred and despair. The scene shifted. Chunjua and Xiao Tsui were now tied to tall wooden stakes, helpless. "Changshun is dead. I won't last much longer either," Xiao Tsui whispered. "I'm sorry for dragging you into this. Maybe we really can't fight fate." The ghost system chimed in. This was the ending written in stone. We can't change it. Chunjua, staring blankly at the sky, didn't seem to be listening. Meanwhile, the ignorant onlookers erupted in boos. Shameless woman, betraying a good man like the commander for an opera clown. Someone hurled a torch at them. The flames ignited instantly, encircling the stakes. Chunjua's expression darkened. "Seriously? You people still at it?" In a sudden burst of rage, he broke free from the ropes. "I was in the middle of a damn card game." He grabbed the burning stake with one hand, unfazed. Zhao Xiaotsue did nothing wrong. Zhang Changshun did nothing wrong. The only ones who should be ashamed are you, the mob. With a surge of ghost system power, he lifted the entire flaming stake over his head. Then, with a war cry, he swung the pole in wide arcs, scattering the crowd like bowling pins. Xiao Tsue's eyes welled with tears. For once in her life, someone was standing up for her, fighting for her. The fire spread fast. Buildings burned. People ran for their lives. Chunjua emerged from the inferno, triumphant. In that moment, he looked more like a real commander than the one they'd feared. From afar, the 3 ghost kings watched in silence. If we'd had the guts back then, maybe we wouldn't have died full of regret. Chunjua scoffed. What's there to regret? Someone insults you, you clap back. Someone hurts you, you hit back. This world's insane, not you. You were just human. Even after countless rounds, Chunjua still wasn't done. He blocked the ghost trio from leaving, grinning wildly. Come on, one more hand won't hurt. Though protected by his divine soul system, the 3 ghost kings were nearly drained dry, spiritually bankrupt and emotionally scarred. Meanwhile, Chief Zhou finally arrived with a full exorcist squad, marching up to the courtyard like they were busting a haunted cartel. The team moved in swift formation, surrounding the place. At Zhou's signal, they kicked the door open and stormed in. And then everyone just froze. There was Chunjua lounging at the table like he was in his grandma's living room, casually flipping cards and snacking like it was Sunday game night. Spotting familiar faces, he waved. "Oh hey, perfect timing. Want to jump in? We got a seat open." The entire squad stood in stunned silence. Was this an exorcism or a poker party gone rogue? Suddenly, the ghost trio behind Chun jerked upright like someone hit a panic button. They bolted straight toward Chief Zhou, spooking the officers into raising their weapons, ready to throw down. But instead of attacking, the three ghosts dropped to their knees with teary eyes, clinging to Zhou like desperate fans meeting their idol. "Officer, please save us. One more game with that lunatic, and we'll be exorcising ourselves." Just as Chief Zhou was scratching his head in confusion, Officer Kaka's ghost detector lit up with a beep. The scan showed something shocking. Those three terrifying ghost kings had dropped to mere wandering spirits. Chunjua shrugged, looking innocent. "Hey, not my fault their poker luck sucks." At that moment, the kidnapped girl let out a shaky sigh of relief and began crawling weakly toward the door. That's when Chief Zhou finally noticed there was a hostage in the room. After verifying her identity, Kaka exclaimed she was the missing heiress of the Wu real estate family. Not only had they exorcised ghosts tonight, they also cracked a major missing person case. The mood instantly lifted. Chief Zhou grinned smugly. This was the kind of accidental heroism that earned promotions. On the way back, the ghost trio bowed deeply, vowing through tears, "We've seen the light. We'll turn over a new leaf. No more haunting, no more nonsense." Meanwhile, rain began to drizzle from the skies. Chunjua sighed. "Looks like poker's rained out. I'm heading home for a nap." Chief Zhou offered to give him a lift, but Chunjua waved him off. "Don't bother. My tiger's faster than your squad car." But the moment he brushed past, Kaka's detector went nuts, alarm blaring like crazy. Readings showed the tiger was a late-stage evil spirit. And the little girl? Mid-stage ghost level. Everyone froze. Should they panic or pretend they saw nothing and go home for hot pot? The next day, sunshine returned. But Chunjua lay curled up in bed, groaning. After getting soaked last night, he was now feverish and miserable, too sick to even lift a card. Just as Chunjua was drifting in and out of fever dreams, a shadowy figure suddenly appeared in his blurry vision. Instinctively, he kicked out, but the figure dodged like a ninja. Moments later, a group of nurses burst through the door, pinning him down like he was about to escape from Alcatraz. Turns out, the shadow was none other than Dr. Ayuan, his attending physician, who was just there to give him an injection. The hallway echoed with his howls of agony. Chunjua made sure everyone on the floor knew he was being stabbed with a needle. Despite the dramatics, the shot was finally done. And when he saw the relieved expression on the director's face outside the room, he somehow felt it was all worth it. Just then, the hospital director got a call. It was Chief Zhou calling with a guilty tone, saying he'd like to visit Chunjua later. But Director Li didn't hesitate. "He's sick because of you. You're not welcome." Chunjua sat on a bench in the sun, sulking like a scolded puppy. Everyone's on Dr. Ayuan's side. "All these people in white coats are evil," he muttered. That's when Zhang Yu showed up, carrying a giant bag of snacks. Chunjua's eyes lit up. Mood instantly 100% restored. Yu was there to thank him. She said ever since drinking that weird, sandy water, he gave her body miraculously recovered, and she was back to work. "And no big deal. We're friends, right?" he said casually. But Yu knew his story. Abandoned as a kid, raised in an orphanage, basically cut off from the world. Her heart clenched, and without thinking, she blurted out, "If you don't mind, I'll be your family from now on." But before she could soak in the moment, someone called out from afar. Wu family's heiress had arrived to thank Chunjua in person. She now looked radiant, glowing with grace and elegance. Not a trace of the disheveled mess from yesterday. Chunjua squinted at her, genuinely confused. "Wait, didn't I rescue some wrinkly old granny last night?" Seeing the heiress of the Wu family show up empty-handed, Chunjua frowned and muttered, "Seriously? Not even a fruit basket?" His face twisted into a masterpiece of dramatic disgust, as if he'd been served instant noodles at a five-star hotel. Meanwhile, outside the hospital, Chief Zhou and Wu Badhong were stuck at the gate. Apparently, Director Li Qingshan had issued strict orders. No one enters without his personal approval, especially people from the precinct trying to steal his patient. Chief Zhou anxiously scanned the area, finally spotting his old friend Li Qingshan walking past. He rushed over, hoping to smooth talk his way in, but Li just shrugged innocently. No registration, no entry. Gotta follow protocol, right? Wu Batong, standing beside him, chuckled. Chief Zhou, this looks like a classic loop. I think he's messing with you on purpose. Zhou bit his tongue, forced a polite smile, and bowed in apology. But Li Qingshan remained stubborn as a stone. Then Zhou's eyes lit up. A plan formed. He gestured toward Wu Batong and announced, "This gentleman is the CEO of Fengheng Real Estate. Yesterday, Chen Zhua saved his daughter's life. Today, he's here personally to thank him." At the mention of a big-shot tycoon, Li Qingshan's face transformed instantly. An honored guest. Why didn't you say so earlier? Please, come in, come in. As if his principles had evaporated on the spot. As the group stepped inside, they were greeted by Zhang Yuyu. Looking bright and healthy, her energy alone brought smiles. Chief Zhou felt genuinely happy for her. But standing next to her, Wu Xuanqi looked more and more upset. She just couldn't figure out, why was Chenju being so cold to her? Dr. Li Qingshan struck a serious pose, ready to lecture Chenjua like a strict dad, conveniently forgetting he was the one who ordered the injection earlier. But Chenjua wasn't having it. He threw a punch straight at Li's forehead. Li stumbled back, rubbing his head, and awkwardly muttered, "Patient's just a little emotionally unstable, totally normal." Seizing the moment, Chief Zhou casually asked, "Come on, what's really bothering you, buddy?" Chenjua trusted this whole seven bro and confessed she came to thank me empty-handed. That's just rude. Wu Batong nearly fainted. He whipped out a checkbook and respectfully handed over a blank check. "Master Chun, please write any amount. Just a small token of appreciation." Chenjua's eyes sparkled like he'd found a cheat code. He cradled the check like it was the One Ring. Off to the side, Li Qingshan ground his teeth. This kid's only been hanging with Chief Zhou for 2 days, and already he's turned into a gold digger. Wu Batong, on the other hand, looked deadly serious. He knew befriending someone like Chen Zhua was worth more than any number. Unfortunately, he was about to regret being that generous. Chen Zhua picked up a pen and scribbled a long string of 9s across the check. The number stopped just shy of a full billion. Cold sweat beaded on Li Qingshan's forehead. This amount could bankrupt Wu's entire empire. Just as he opened his mouth to defuse the situation, Chief Zhou beat him to it. Pulling Chen Zhua aside, he whispered, "Yo, whole demon, a check is just a piece of paper. What if the bank bounces it? Maybe ask for something solid, like stuff you can actually touch." In a flash, Chen Zhua's mind conjured up a dreamy vision. Zhang Yuyu in a wedding dress, smiling like an angel as she floated toward him. His eyes sparkled, his face blushed, and a stream of nosebleed burst out on cue. Snapping back to reality, he beamed and turned to Wu Batong, declaring, "I've made up my mind. I want a black box, a car. That way I can dream about Yuyu every day and never get wet in the rain again." But seriously, who'd let a psychiatric patient drive? Wu Batong panicked and quickly deflected, pointing at the others. "I'm cool with it, but this decision's above my pay grade. It's up to them." Feeling the pressure of Chenjua's fiery gaze, Director Zhou immediately passed the buck. "I agree too, but since he's your hospital's patient, Director Li, you have the final say." Cornered, Li Qingshan clenched his teeth and reluctantly nodded. Deep down, he knew he was totally doomed now. Fine, he can have a car, but only with a professional driver. Director Zhou jumped in right away. "Absolutely. A man of Master Chen's status deserves a personal driver." Before anyone else could react, Zhang Yuyu raised her hand eagerly. "I'll be his driver." Zhou lit up with joy. This was perfect. With Yuyu around, they could keep Chen Zhua on their side permanently. Chen Zhua raised an eyebrow with a sly grin. "Wait, are you saying you want to be my apprentice?" The unexpected twist left everyone momentarily stunned, but honestly, it kind of made sense. Zhang Yuyu didn't hesitate. She gave a respectful bow. Even the spirit within her was moved to tears. Never in its ghostly afterlife did it imagine being a master again. With his first apprentice officially taken, Chun Zhua decided a proper gift was in order. He started rummaging through his coat like a magician. Out came a small, jet-black bell that gave off a chilling aura, the 100 Ghost Bell. It could automatically repel evil spirits based on the wearer's power level. The stronger the user, the more untouchable they became. Director Zhou's eyes nearly popped out of his head. You hit the jackpot. That's the real 100 Ghost Bell, nothing short of legendary. Even high-level ghosts wouldn't dare come near you. Watching Zhou practically drooling, Qinzhou quickly added, "Just so we're clear, this gift is for Yu. Don't even think about it." Zhou backed off with an awkward chuckle. Meanwhile, Wu Badong took mental notes. If Chun Zhua could casually hand out god-tier artifacts like that, then befriending him was a no-brainer. Fired up, Wu Badong shot to his feet and shouted, "Master Chun, why wait? Let's go buy that car right now." When Qinzhou heard they were taking him to buy his black box, right away, his eyes lit up like light bulbs. The man was fully charged with excitement. Wu Badong nodded immediately, but still turned to ask for Director Zhou and Director Li's opinions. Director Zhou gave a quick thumbs up. "No problem here," he said cheerfully, then promptly tossed the responsibility to Li Qingshan. "But he's your patient." Seeing Chun's eager face, Li Qingshan sighed and nodded. Fine. Go buy it. Just don't bite anyone." On the way to the dealership, Zhang Yu couldn't help noticing that Chun's clothes looked out of this world. Chunzhua proudly pointed to the tag on his back. This was a gift from Dong Donkey. It's a top-secret prototype battle suit from Planet HQ. With this on, I'm the strongest warrior in the galaxy. Chun Master, that outfit's nothing. Wu Xuanqi chimed in eagerly. Wait till we pick you a real luxury ride. That's what true status looks like. She even took Chunzhua's hand and pressed it to her chest, making him grin from ear to ear. Zhang Yu was completely stunned, her heart racing. This woman's tactics way too aggressive. Noticing the subtle tension in the air, Director Zhou leaned toward Zhang Yu and whispered, "Don't hold back. If you want to win him over, you've got to engage more. Go talk to him." "Master Chun, what kind of car do you like? Lamborghini? LaFerrari? Aston Martin?" Wu Xuanqi kept the pressure on, firing off luxury car brands like rapid fire. Qinzhua, however, looked totally confused. But as a proud planet warrior, Qinzhua wasn't about to show weakness. He puffed up his chest and said seriously, "I like UFC." Zhang Yu had no idea what that meant, but she played along anyway. "Me too. UFC cars are the best." That unexpected support earned her instant praise. Qinzhua beamed. "No wonder you're my disciple. Such excellent taste." Off to the side, Shinhan silently covered his face. "I just want some peace. Why is that so hard?" Once everyone was loaded into the car, Director Zhou gave a satisfied wave goodbye, while Li Qingshan stood alone, sighing like an abandoned NPC. But the show wasn't over yet. Just as the group left, a new wave of unexpected visitors stepped through the hospital gates. "Hey Gramps, sorry to bother you, but is this Qingshan Psychiatric Hospital?" The man's tone had a teasing edge to it. Li Qingshan's face darkened instantly. Gramps? He was only 38. Internally, he sneered. "Do I look like a grandpa to you?" He instinctively replied, "Nope, this isn't Qingshan Hospital." But the massive sign at the entrance clearly said otherwise. No way they were buying that. The two visitors then stated their purpose. "We came all the way here to meet Master Chun. We need his help with an exorcism." Realizing they were here for something serious, Li Qingshan still couldn't be bothered. He coldly replied, "Qinzhua just left. He's out right now." That sent the two into a panic. "Gramps, could you help us contact him at least?" That was it. Li Qingshan almost exploded. "Gramps again? I'm 30-freaking-8. He waved them off impatiently. "Whatever. Do as you please." But deep down, he snorted, "Call me Gramps and expect me to help? Dream on." Meanwhile, Wu Badong had led Qinzhua and the gang to the city's largest luxury car dealership. As a regular VIP, Wu was immediately welcomed like royalty. The moment his golden boots hit the floor, A wave of CEO-level dominance swept the room. Even Chen Zhuo, who feared nothing, instinctively took a step back. While Wu and Director Zhou were discussing lunch plans, Chen Zhuo had already started excitedly roaming the showroom like a kid in a candy store. The luxury showroom was filled with gleaming high-end cars, each one practically radiating the scent of money. Chen Zhuo was dazzled. Every time he test drove a car, the salespeople lit up. Just one sale could skyrocket their monthly performance. Suddenly, a tiny smart car caught Chen Zhuo's eye. Its compact, toy-like design perfectly matched his battle vehicle fantasy. He pointed excitedly and shouted, "This one! I want this one!" Wu Baodong was caught off guard. Of all the cars, Chen Zhuo had chosen the cheapest one. He tried to persuade him to at least consider something fancier. But before he could say a word, Chen Zhuo had already leaped onto the car's roof, rolling around like a toddler throwing a tantrum. Left with no choice, Wu sighed and swiped his card on the spot. Chen Zhuo beamed with joy, while the dealership staff silently screamed. Who the hell brought that smart car onto the floor? Soon after, Chen Zhuo hit the road with a face full of glee. That quickly turned to frustration. The car was unbelievably slow. Watching Dong Donkey's car disappear into the distance, he frowned. "I'm not driving behind them like this." Zhang Yuyu could only shrug helplessly. It's a smart car, not a spaceship. The ghost system seemed to have had enough and secretly cast a boost spell, instantly doubling the little car's speed. The once unimpressive smart suddenly shot forward, zooming past Dong Donkey's vehicle like a bolt of lightning. In the car ahead, Wu Baodong was still oblivious, too busy stressing over the strange incidents at his construction site. Several mysterious deaths had occurred recently, all without any clues. His mind was a mess. Just then, Wu Xuanqi happened to glance out the window and nearly dropped her phone. Chen Zhuo's tiny car had somehow caught up and was now speeding way faster than normal. As they were overtaken, Chen Zhuo leaned out the window, flashed a very universal gesture, and shouted smugly, "Come catch me if you can, old Zhou." Furious, Director Zhou immediately called Zhang Yuyu. "What the hell are you doing back there? Driving a rocket? You trying to launch into orbit?" Zhang Yuyu, completely baffled, replied, "I have no idea. The car just started speeding up on its own." Night had fallen, and an eerie chill clung to the air. Wu Baotong's hands trembled as he fumbled with the keys, unable to hit the lock even after several tries. Suddenly, Chen Zhuo snatched up a tool lobster from his bag and jammed it into the lock. Click! The door opened like magic. A cold wind swept through the abandoned site. Dust-covered equipment and unused materials filled the area, as if untouched for years. As everyone scanned the surroundings, Zhang Yuyu caught a strange knocking sound. Wu Baotong turned pale and pointed toward an unfinished building with a shaky finger. The oppressive atmosphere grew heavier, but Chen Zhuo remained calm and walked ahead without hesitation, heading straight for the building. As he stepped forward, an unusual energy pulse surged beneath his feet. The ghost system immediately detected a ritual formation and urged him to find higher ground to get a better view. Without hesitation, Chen Zhuo jumped onto Tiger Soul and soared to the rooftop, leaving the others frozen in place. From above, Chen Zhuo finally had a clear view of the bizarre scene below. The ghost system identified it instantly. This was the Eye of Sacrifice, a dark ritual that used human flesh and blood to appease a sealed evil spirit. Just as he began analyzing the ritual, a desperate cry for help echoed from below. Still deep in thought, Chen Zhuo didn't react until Zhang Yuyu's voice pierced through the night. That snapped him into action. Like a meteor, he leapt from the rooftop, diving straight toward the source of the cry. "Hey, big cat, move faster." If Chen Zhuo splats on the ground, "You're going down with him," the ghost system yelled at Tiger Soul. Meanwhile, Zhang Yu, Director Zhou, and Wu Baodong finally reached the rooftop, panting heavily, only to freeze in shock at the scene before them. Standing right, there was the first deceased worker Wu Baodong had mentioned, the one who died when a hammer fell on his head during construction. Before anyone could react, the corpse's rotting face twisted toward them, and the hammer in its hand slipped, slamming down on its skull with a sickening crack. A horrifying reenactment of his own death. They knew it wasn't a living person, but witnessing the moment of death replayed so vividly made their blood run cold. And the nightmare was only beginning. With a terrified gasp from Wu Batong, another dead worker appeared, the man who had fallen from the scaffolding. Then came Old Wang, who was impaled by rebar, and Old Shui, who collapsed from a sudden heart attack. Every single worker who had died on this site was now standing around them, like a parade of resurrected nightmares. Even more terrifying, Director Zhou's ghost detector remained completely silent. No spiritual readings at all, which meant these weren't real ghosts. Zhang Yuyu, get Mr. Wu out of here, Director Zhou barked, charging straight toward the swarm of shadows. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoed in the distance, kicking up a massive cloud of dust. The group turned. Through the haze, a familiar silhouette emerged. It was Chunjua, their spirit's sword. "Don't worry, my disciple. Your master is here to save you," he yelled. No sooner had the words left his mouth than countless ghostly figures lunged at him. But the ghost system quickly assessed illusions, just fear projections created by the ghost domain. They can't harm him. Find a real ghost behind them, and this entire trap falls apart, it calmly advised. Without hesitation, Chunjua clenched his fists, pointed his fingers like a spiritual missile, and charged straight toward the source. A shriek, loud enough to butcher pigs, ripped through the night. Wu Batong flinched, but then felt strangely relieved, like a weight had lifted from his chest. Chunjua casually dusted off his hands. All done. Just as everyone was about to relax, Zhang Yuyu's eyes snapped open. Wait, if those images came from our own fears, then the real ghost must still be hiding nearby. A blood-curdling scream erupted from the darkness before she could finish. Killer Loli, engage, Chunjua commanded without missing a beat. Within seconds, the long-haired ghost was wrapped in swirling black mist and dragged right in front of them. This one's weak. Died in a recent car crash. Probably got pulled in by the summoning array. So feeble, even the scanner barely picked her up, Director Zhou explained, completely ignoring her now venomous stare. The moment they let their guard down, she snapped her eyes wide open, broke free, and launched at Chunjua, her pale hands locking around his throat. But Chunjua didn't flinch. Instead, he slowly reached toward her with a mysterious smile, and then he started tickling her under the arms. To everyone's shock, the ghost actually giggled, like legit belly laughs, her arms flailing as she tried to cover herself. People looked at each other in disbelief. Is this still a ghost? Realizing how silly she looked, the ghost quickly composed herself and tried to sound menacing. Leave now or you'll all die. She glared hard, trying to be scary, but her cute little pout and awkward stance made that impossible. Frustrated, she yelled, I'm not joking. She's about to wake up, and when she does, you're all dead. Despite the ghost girl's dramatic warning, most people still looked baffled. Only the ghost system seemed to sense the real threat, the sealed evil spirit beneath them. Watching the ghost panic and practically lose her spooky demeanor finally made the group realize something truly horrifying might be awakening. To stop it, a life might have to be sacrificed, which meant something even more terrifying was buried here. Just as everyone was about to retreat, someone noticed Chunjua had silently approached the window, 1 foot already out the ledge. Director Zhou turned just in time to see Chunjua leap off the edge, plunging toward the ground below. Zhang Yuyu and Wu Badong stood frozen at the window, completely shell-shocked. Mid-air, Chunjua's palm suddenly lit up with radiant golden energy. With a sharp cry, break! A blinding beam shot straight down, piercing the center of the array. Boom! The entire building trembled. The earth itself groaned under the impact, echoing through the night sky. When the group rushed downstairs, thick smoke filled the area, so choking that no one could open their eyes. Director Zhou's jaw dropped. A massive crater now lay where the floor used to be. No human tool could have made that. As the dust cleared, Chunjua's head popped up from the pit, very much alive, very much smug. But before anyone could celebrate, Director Zhou noticed something odd. The black box at the bottom of the hole was a coffin. He suddenly recalled that when Wu Badong purchased the land, he had experts check the area. No one found any signs of burial sites. Yet with one glance, Zhou recognized the truth. This was a sacrificial array known as the Eye of Offering, a dark ritual formation used by the infamous Tianma sect. After the ghost resurgence, some cults and rogue exorcists re-emerged. The Tianma sect was the worst of them all. They were obsessed with feeding evil spirits using ancient rituals powered by flesh, blood, and fear. Zhang Yuyu still remembered the last campaign against them. The Demon Suppression Bureau lost over 200,000 lives. Even now, the memory made her tremble. Fired up with righteous fury, Chen Zhua didn't even hesitate. He broke free from his disciples' grasp and dove straight back into the crater. Director Zhou cursed under his breath, but followed anyway. That man clearly had no idea how dangerous this place was. Sure enough, the moment Chen Zhua kicked over one of the coffins, a thick black smoke erupted like boiling tar. Director Zhou nearly had a heart attack, while Chen Zhua, of all things, leaned in for a sniff. The ghost system screamed warnings, but it was too late. Chen Zhua began to shake violently, then hurled up his entire dinner with impressive force. Whether from the proximity or Chen Zhua's sheer idiocy, the other 8 coffins suddenly began to stir. The lids rattled, black mist surged, and the nearest one exploded open, sending Chen Zhua flying backward. Meanwhile, up above, Zhang Yuyu was mid-report to headquarters when she felt something wrong. She turned her head and froze. A wave of despair rushed straight toward her. The evil energy had broken loose. Thick, oppressive, and suffocating, it poured out in all directions like a living storm. Down in the pit, the 9 coffins now encircled the 2 men, shrouded in swirling darkness. Even hope seemed to vanish. The stench of damp rot was overwhelming. Zhou could barely keep his eyes open from the sting. Groping blindly, he found Chen Zhua's arm, and only then managed to calm himself down a little. But when Director Zhou finally got a good look at the arm he was holding, his face turned pale. It wasn't Chen Zhua's hand at all. Meanwhile, Chen Zhua wasn't having a picnic either. A late-stage tier 3 ghost was creeping up behind him. Luckily, with the undead system's buffs and his utterly fearless, borderline brain-dead attitude, he didn't flinch. Instead, he turned and decked the ghost so hard it shattered on the spot. "You want to square up with Chen Zhua? Not in this lifetime," he scoffed, shaking his fist with smug satisfaction. Suddenly, it hit him, the unopened black coffin in the center. His gut screamed that the real boss ghost was in there, but the surroundings were pitch black. He circled the main coffin a few times and found absolutely nothing. That's when he spotted Director Zhou, barely hanging on, nearly drained dry by ghostly forces. Without hesitation, Chen Zhua kicked away the shadows and dragged him back from the edge of death. At that exact moment, the undead system locked onto a powerful signal. It was the Corpse King. Chen Zhua grabbed Zhou and charged toward the source of the aura. As they drew closer, the undead system began to panic. This aura, it wasn't just strong, it was terrifying. Whoever this was, they weren't just another ghost. For the first time, the system hesitated. But Chen Zhua, he just hoisted his ghost-slaying banner and charged forward like a man possessed. As he kicked open the main coffin, the true monster finally emerged. Clad in ancient armor, red plumes swaying ominously from his helmet, he looked like a general from the underworld awakened from eternal slumber. The undead system's voice trembled. This ghost was imbued with lingering national fortune and had soaked in millennia of dark energy. It was a Tier 4 spectral menace, a real apocalyptic nightmare. The mummified general gave a slight twitch of his finger, and instantly, the army of corpses behind him began to stir. The command was clear: capture them all. Meanwhile, Director Zhou slowly came to. Seeing Chen Zhua still alive and kicking, he finally let out a sigh of relief. But Chen Zhua wasn't about to slow down. "You're awake? Great, then fight with me." Without warning, he hurled Zhou like a human cannonball. Luckily, all that daily exercise paid off. Zhou crashed straight into a zombie soldier, knocking it flat. Even Chunjua had to pause mid-fight to give him a thumbs up, but the next wave of undead surged forward, turning the tide again. Zhou, now a ghost magnet with zero combat ability, had no choice but to sprint for his life. Meanwhile, Chunjua finally saw his opening. Time to solo the undead general. The general, sensing his intent, flared with battle spirit. Chunjua twisted into a fierce backhand strike, slicing the air with a sharp sonic crack. But right before his punch landed, he stopped cold. His eyes locked onto the ornate sword on the general's hip. And just like that, his collector's obsession kicked in. Must have that sword. Unfortunately, the weapon wasn't just decorative. It was fused to the general himself. No chance of getting it that easy. That didn't stop Chinjua. He blurted, "This guy ain't no general. He doesn't deserve a sword like that." The undead system winced. "You're really not afraid of dying, huh?" Predictably, the mummy's lip twitched. Then came a massive blast of wrathful energy. The shockwave blew everything nearby sky high. A chilling aura spread rapidly, as if intending to consume the entire space. Just as everyone braced for disaster, the ominous energy abruptly vanished without a trace. But before they could breathe a sigh of relief, a bolt of pitch-black energy suddenly erupted from the corpse general's body, shooting skyward. Everything it touched withered to dust. The immense pressure made the female ghost tremble, yet deep within that dark force, she sensed something else, fear. Perhaps this was her only chance. At that moment, a giant withered hand lunged straight toward Chinjua. Anyone else would have run for their life, but not our fearless lunatic. Chinjua charged forward and swung his sword, only to be launched backward like a rag doll. The onlookers cheered, thinking he'd landed a critical hit. Their cheers stopped instantly. Chinjua had somehow latched onto the corpse general's back like a stubborn leech, yanking at his cloak while cursing. What kind of knockoff crap is this? What shocked everyone more was the corpse general's face. Was that actual fear? Then the scene shifted. The darkness peeled away, revealing an ancient battlefield. They weren't watching a vision anymore, they were in it. This was the final battle of the corpse general's life. And now they stood right in the center of the clash. War horns blared, soldiers charged, and blades clashed in a storm of steel. Joe looked like he might faint, but surprisingly, the mighty corpse general also hit the ground, trembling. Just as a spear was about to skewer them, a divine sword dropped from the sky, slicing the weapon clean in half. The newcomer wore black armor and a red plume, exuding righteous might. With every slash of his sword, enemies fell like wheat before the scythe. He radiated heroic energy, as if a god of war had descended. As the spectral battlefield became clearer, everyone finally saw the real general charging at the front lines with unshakable bravery. A surge of respect rose in Chunjua's heart. The general was clearly wounded and barely holding on, but he still stood tall, gripping the war banner. That was the kind of spirit worthy of carrying a nation's fate. Just as the truth seemed revealed, a dark figure suddenly lunged from the pile of corpses. A blade flashed. The general never even saw it coming. His head was severed in an instant. One swing rewrote history. A nameless foot soldier had used betrayal to steal the general's identity and rise to fame. That wicked grin looked exactly like the one on the so-called corpse general standing beside Chinjua. It all made sense now. He was never a hero, just a fraud basking in stolen glory. Face grim, Chinjua bent down and picked up the fallen general's helmet. He placed it solemnly on his head, his heart burning with rage. He gripped his sword tightly, golden light radiating from him in waves. Even the air around him trembled. In a flash, Chinjua burst forward like a golden meteor, blade aiming straight for the imposter's skull. But just before impact, he stopped. The 8 ghost soldiers had already arrived. They weren't targeting Chinjua. No, they surged toward the fake general with vengeance in their eyes. Zhou still felt uneasy. Even if the ghosts got their revenge, what if they turned on the living next? But as the imposter was torn limb from limb, the lingering evil energy finally vanished. The ghostly illusion shattered. Reality returned to normal. The ghost soldiers raised a battle cry, not of war, but of mourning. They honored their fallen commander one last time. And in the stillness that followed, only the echo of loyalty and sorrow remained in the air. The 8 ghost soldiers turned to look at Chunjua, not with hostility, but with sincere gratitude. Had he not uncovered the truth, they might have remained trapped here for eternity, worshipping a false general. A beam of golden light descended from the heavens. Released from their long-held obsession, the spirits slowly faded into the ether. Just then, Zhang Yuyu arrived with Wu Batong. Seeing that Chunjua was safe, she finally let out a sigh of relief. But Chunjua, dead serious, declared he wanted to take the luxury coffin home, leaving everyone speechless. While the others were still bickering over his bizarre hobby, Zhou suddenly collapsed. His yang energy had been drained dry. Whether from the ghost attack or lingering Yin aura, his condition rapidly worsened. By the time he reached the hospital, he was rushed straight into emergency surgery. Zhang Yuyu was beside herself with worry. Unable to help, she even considered buying his favorite dishes, braised pork knuckles and dompa pork, hoping food might comfort him somehow. When she turned to take Chunjua home, she noticed his face twisted in pain. "Master, are you okay?" she asked, panicked. Truth was, Chunjua was fine. He just wanted to fake illness and get hospitalized for the food. Zhang Yuyu stared at him, utterly confused, unsure whether to scold him or call a nurse. Meanwhile, in the ICU, machines beeped steadily. Zhou's family stood frozen, holding their breath. The doctors were doing their best, but injuries caused by supernatural forces were still beyond modern medicine. Upon hearing the diagnosis, Mrs. Zhou felt as if lightning had struck her. Tears streamed down her face until the moment Zhou finally opened his eyes. She quickly wiped her tears and stepped forward. "Old Zhou, how are you feeling? I brought your favorite, braised pork knuckles and dompa pork. You made them just for you. Try some." Zhou weakly lifted his hands a few times, but gave up. Instead, he asked in a faint voice, "What's wrong with me?" "Just low blood sugar," his wife said, holding back tears. Their son chimed in, "Daddy, when you're better, let's go to Disneyland together." Zhou knew better. His wife was usually nagging him, but today she was being overly kind. That could only mean one thing. He might not have much time left. Still holding on to his duties as a bureau chief, he asked about Chunjua's condition. But when he saw Chunjua lying there, completely wrapped in bandages with red stains on his chest and arms, guilt flooded his heart. Zhou broke into sobs. "It's all my fault. If I hadn't dragged you to that cursed site, none of this would have happened." What he didn't notice was the ketchup bubbling from Chunjua's nose and the half-eaten bucket of fried chicken by his pillow. His loud wailing finally woke Chunjua, who groggily sat up and immediately flung a chicken drumstick straight into Zhou's face. That bloodstain he had worried about? Just ketchup from Chunjua's chicken binge. Zhou couldn't help but burst into laughter. Remembering how Chunjua once cured Zhang Yuyu's breast lump with nothing but bottled water, Zhou instantly began praising him to the heavens, hoping for a miracle of his own. Chief Zhou praised Chunjua like he was the pride of the entire planet. "You're the strongest warrior we've got. Now, I finally understand why the mission was assigned to you. Someone like me couldn't even take one hit." Chunjua, basking in the praise, humbly replied, "Ah, it's nothing. You could totally be a great warrior too." Then Zhou suddenly turned serious. "Not that it matters now. Backslash. The doctor said I've got 2 days left to live." Chunjua looked genuinely alarmed, until the undead system in his head sighed and explained what was actually going on. He stared at Zhou in disbelief. But for a planetary warrior like Chunjua, this was child's play. He grabbed a roll of toilet paper off the bedside table like he was about to perform emergency surgery. Maybe in his mind, wrapping Zhou up like a mummy was the shortcut to healing. Zhou, half convinced and half desperate, played along, hoping for a miraculous holy water treatment or something similar. But instead, Chunjua ripped off a piece of toilet paper, slapped it on Zhou's forehead, and then spat on him. With conviction, even the undead system panicked. There were 360 proper methods to dispel dark energy. Why did he choose the weirdest one? Chunjua then started scribbling on the tissues like they were talismans, sticking them all over Zhou's face. Protective charm of 7 verses. Spirit calming sigil. Thunderstrike rune. He went all in. Once the entire roll was used up, Chunjua curled up in bed and muttered sleepily, "Just keep them on for 49 days. You'll be fine." Zhou touched his paper-covered face, full of doubts and ketchup-like symbols. Suddenly, a wave of black energy surged from his body. Pain stabbed through him like knives. He tried calling out, but Chunjua was already snoring. Helpless, Zhou slammed the nurse call button, hoping anyone, could bring him some painkillers. Just then, a few enforcers from the Demon Suppression Bureau arrived and happened to witness the bizarre scene. One look at Zhou's condition, and they immediately recognized the heavy, dark energy clinging to him. He had to be the Exorcism Bureau chief and the man involved in the Eye of Sacrifice incident. Still, they didn't rush to help. After all, victims of such cursed energy usually didn't last more than a few days. Later that evening, Chunjua was casually enjoying some fruit in his hospital bed when 2 men in black suddenly pushed open the door. Instinctively, he pulled the fruit basket into his lap, suspecting these guys might be after his food. One of the men gave him a frosty glare, oozing disdain. The female enforcer, worried they'd get a complaint, quickly pulled her partner aside and offered a polite apology. She double-checked a photo on her phone, nodded in confirmation, then stepped back into the room. "Good evening. We're from the Soul Enforcement Bureau," she said in a flat tone. "You were present during the Eye of Sacrifice incident linked to the demon cult, correct?" Chunjua blinked, confused. Before he could say a word, a green ID was flashed in his face, so fast he couldn't even read it before it vanished again. There was a Tier 4 wraith at the scene. The male enforcer said coldly, "This is beyond the Exorcism Bureau's scope. We're here to investigate and also confirm whether you're a registered cultivator. If not, you may be considered a suspect connected to the demon cult." As he spoke, the woman pulled out a spirit testing stone and, without asking permission, reached for Chunjua's hand to test him on the spot. But Chunjua wasn't having it. Offended by the sudden move, he slapped her hand away with such force that the testing stone nearly went flying. That was the final straw for the male enforcer. His face darkened, and he raised his hand, ready to strike Chunjua. But just as he moved, a large red apple flew through the air and smacked him square in the face. Chunjua glared at them, barking, "Who the hell are you two? Got a screw loose or something? Want to fight? Come on then." The hospital room suddenly turned into a scene straight out of a slapstick action movie. "You just assaulted an officer of the Soul Enforcement Bureau," the male enforcer roared. "Do you have a death wish?" Chunjua smirked and cracked his knuckles. "I don't care if you're from the damn moon." Then, without warning, he lunged at both of them. Just as chaos was about to erupt, Zhang Yuyu entered the room cheerfully, carrying a food tray. "Master, I brought you dinner. Your favorite, braised pork." What she saw made her freeze. Chunjua had one guy in a chokehold and the other pinned under his foot. He casually looked back and said, "Oh, you're here." Zhang Yuyu's eyes widened when she recognized the 2 bruised faces. Officers from the Soul Enforcement Bureau. She hurried forward and bowed. "I'm terribly sorry, sirs. My master is a bit straightforward. He meant no offense." The male enforcer, now sporting a swollen face, sighed. "You're from the Exorcism Bureau, right? Since we're under the same spirit system and you clearly know this guy, could you please get him to cooperate?" His red-haired partner chimed in. "Yeah, the guy's got issues. The report says he's mentally unstable." Hearing someone call her master mentally unstable made Zhang Yuyu furious. "Watch your mouth. I don't care who you are, Soul Bureau or not. Don't go insulting my master like that." The red-haired enforcer muttered under his breath. "But he is mentally unstable," Zhang Yuyu snapped. "Get out. If you can investigate, at least send someone with manners." The enforcers quickly backpedaled. "Hey now, calm down. We're all under the same system. We already inspected the site last night. Apart from that giant coffin, there are no leads. That's why we're starting with Chunjua." Zhang Yuyu, mid-bite in her meat, perked up at the word coffin. "Oh, you mean the gift the general gave me?" Chunjua stormed up to them, fuming. You Soul Bureau bastard stole my coffin. The redhead's eyes bulged. What insane power! What rank is this guy? The green-haired enforcer stared at the glowing detection crystal in shock. This can't be right. Someone this strong can't be a low-level cultivator. The crystal, unfortunately, could only detect ranks below the Holy Realm. Anything in the Divine or Emperor tiers would simply return a generic result, just like now. Tearing off his bandages, Chanjua turned to Zhang Yuyu and declared, "No need to worry about this, my dear disciple. I'll personally raid that bandit den and get our coffin back." Instantly, his spectral tiger, the ghost girl, and the undead system materialized at his side, all ready for battle. But after confidently setting off, the squad immediately got lost. The undead system was getting dizzy from Chunjua's chaotic directions. "Hey, what you guys doing? Soul Bureau's that way." The whole crew, man, ghost, tiger, and AI, froze in place. The ghost girl scratched her head. So where's Soul Bureau exactly?" The system pointed firmly in one direction, but Chunjua, with full confidence, pointed in the opposite one. "It's that way. I can feel it." The system groaned. "How many times do I have to say it? Living with you is a nightmare." Just then, a voice called out, "Senior, please wait." Chunjua turned around. It was the ghost woman from the construction site. She politely pointed in a direction. "Senior, Soul Bureau is that way." Chunjua beamed. "Knew it. My instincts are spot on." The undead system groaned. "I've been saying that for ages, but no. You only believe her?" The ghost hesitated, then said softly, "Senior, I have nowhere else to go. May I follow you?" The undead system chimed in. She's no longer under the eye of sacrifice's control. Though only a low-tier wandering spirit, she has the rare 9 constitution and has never harmed anyone. I suggest you make a contract with her. But Chunjua flatly refused. "No thanks. You got a ticklish spot. That's a weakness. Team Dongdongjiu doesn't take in weaklings. Goodbye." Instead of being discouraged, the ghost's resolve hardened. "Being ticklish isn't a crime. I'll prove I'm worthy. Just wait," she shouted as she chased after him. But a moment later, a chain of resentment energy coiled around her wrist, pulling her to a halt. The once docile ghost girl now glared with glowing red eyes. "You've heard him before. Stay away." With one brutal strike, she sent the ghost woman flying, crashing into the ground with a thud. Lying there, the ghost woman shouted hoarsely toward Chunjua's retreating figure, "I'm not giving up." Cut to Chunjua now stood before the grand entrance of the Soul Bureau. The undead system confirmed this should be the place. Chunjua smirked. Behind him, the ghost girl murmured, "It looks way fancier than when I was here." Without hesitation, Chunjua strode toward the luxurious building, completely unaware that the ghost girl and Amber the tiger had both stopped in their tracks, their expressions unreadable. Suddenly, the ghost girl tugged on Chunjua's sleeve, her voice panicked. "We can't go in. We'll be obliterated." The undead system agreed. She's right. The Soul Bureau has a 12-gate exorcism array in place. Any non-human being stepping in would be instantly purged. Chunjua sighed and waved dismissively. "Fine, you two wait here. I'll handle it." The ghost girl nodded sweetly. "Good luck, master." Just then, the undead system noticed Chunjua pulling out a white bedsheet. "Wait, where'd you even get that?" Next second, Chunjua draped the sheet over himself and confidently strode toward the main gate. The guards immediately yelled, "Civilians, keep out!" Chunjua blinked in confusion. "You can see me? Has my cultivation level dropped?" The system groaned. "You didn't seriously think a sheet would make you invisible, did you?" With a grin, Chunjua flung the sheet off. "Well then, no need to hide. Let's see what you're made of." The guard sneered. "You really think you can throw hands here?" The undead system chuckled and secretly activated the hypnotic eye. The two guards instantly wobbled, then collapsed unconscious. Chunjua looked down at the bodies with a smirk. "I didn't even go all out. Pathetic." The undead system cut him off. Yeah, I did the work. Stop showing off and get inside. Focus on the mission." As Chunjua walked deeper into the compound, he muttered, "I expected the Soul Bureau to be tougher. Bunch of pushovers." The undead system snorted. That's my spell you're bragging about. Whatever, go explore. I'm off to revisit some old acquaintances. 2 minutes later, Chunjua ran into 2 monks at the end of the corridor. One of them was agitated. Did you hear? Another sacrificial eye appeared in Jinhai City. The demon sect is getting way too bold. The chubbier monk lowered his voice. I heard it was taken down by a mental patient. I'm serious, top secret stuff. Just then, Chunjua leapt out from the corner. Hey, do you guys know where my coffin went? Before he could finish the question, both monks collapsed on the spot, fast asleep. As he continued walking, Chunjua realized that everyone he passed out on the way was mysteriously passing out. What the hell is going on here? He shouted. Is everyone in this damn place taking a nap? Can't anyone talk to me? Furious, he kicked open a large door and found a hall filled with people. He opened his mouth to ask a question, and they all promptly dropped like flies. Chunjua was beyond frustrated. This asterisk is supposed to be Earth's strongest exorcist organization. What is this Nap Squad HQ? Just as he was about to throw a tantrum, the undead system popped up. Chunjua, good news. I found your giant coffin. It led him to a containment room and explained, this chamber houses all of the Soul Bureau's most dangerous relics. Your coffin's inside. Let me crack the security code. But seeing Chunjua already balling his fists and about to smash the door open, the system sighed, forget it. Let me just boost your power and brute force this thing. With a mighty punch, Chunjua shattered the supposedly indestructible vault door wide open. Instantly, the Soul Bureau's alarm system blared throughout the building. A robotic voice repeated over the intercom. Warning, unauthorized breach detected. All exorcists, report to containment. Outside the building, the little girl and the tiger's spirit panicked at the sound. Oh no, something must have happened to Master Chun. Inside the treasure chamber, Chunjua's eyes widened at the mountains of rare artifacts. Still, he scoffed, so many shiny toys, yet they came from my coffin. What bunch of shameless crooks. Then he spotted it, his beloved giant coffin. He leapt toward it like a lost lover reuniting. There you are. Did they hurt you? Speak to me. The undead system interrupted his reunion. Can you save the drama for later? The alarm's going wild. This place is crawling with elites. Get out now. Sure enough, a dozen Soul Bureau cultivators burst in, weapons drawn. Freeze! Hand where we can see them. Chunjua slowly turned, eyes glowing as he unleashed the Eye of Enchantment. Within 2.5 seconds, the entire squad collapsed like dominoes. Too strong, head spinning, they mumbled before hitting the floor. Just then, a deep, thunderous voice rang out. Hey, kid, leaving already? In such a hurry. Chunjua turned around to see an elderly man engulfed in flames striding toward him. The old man's tone was icy. You broke into the Soul Bureau, just for a coffin? Chunjua lazily picked his nose and activated his enchantment eye again, but nothing happened. The undead system shrieked, crap, that's a tier 5 cultivator, Master Nanyangzi. Your spell won't work on him. A wave of crushing spiritual pressure crashed over them. The undead system panicked. Run. This guy's not like the rest. He's the real deal. Nanyangzi spoke with grim authority. I am the guardian elder of the Soul Bureau. Intruders will not leave in one piece. He stomped the ground and launched forward, his fist blazing with golden energy. Chunjua, get out of the way, the undead system cried. But Chunjua didn't dodge. Instead, he met the attack head-on with a punch to Nanyangzi's face, knocking out 2 of the elder's front teeth. Slinging the giant coffin over his shoulder, Chunjua casually dug at his ear and muttered, Did he say something? I couldn't hear a word through all that mumbling. The undead system sighed. So, you're just relying on being ridiculously durable, huh? Outside, the red-haired exorcist and his bespectacled partner staggered back, leaning on each other. HQ told us to be friendly, maybe even recruit him. But how the hell are we supposed to deal with a guy who hits like a truck and acts like a fool? As they reached the front gate, they saw the guards still passed out cold. Hey, wake up, the redhead shouted. What the hell is going on inside? Meanwhile, back at Jinhai City Hospital, Director Zhou slowly opened his eyes. Gazing upward weakly, He murmured, "What a beautiful figure. Are you an angel?" I in heaven." A slick-haired doctor walked over, grinning. "Director Zhou, you're finally awake." Zhou blinked a few times and recognized the face. "Dean's son, you scare me. So how's my condition?" Dean's son handed him a medical report, his expression serious. "Take a look. Your organs were being rapidly corroded by dark energy. Frankly, it was fatal. But now your body's almost fully recovered. It's a medical miracle." Zhou let out a long sigh of relief, eyes lighting up. "For real? That's amazing. I guess I'm not dying today after all." But then Dean's son leaned closer, lowering his voice. "That talisman on your forehead, the one who placed it, was it someone named Chunjua?" Zhou nodded firmly. "Yes, he's my subordinate, and my salvation." At that moment, Zhang Yu burst through the door, her face pale with panic. "Director, something's wrong. My master stormed into the Seoul Bureau." Zhou's expression froze in horror. "Is he out of his mind? That place is crawling with high-level cultivators." He immediately threw off the blanket and tried to get up. "We have to stop him before he gets himself killed." Zhang Yu rushed to support him. "Director, are you sure you're okay? Want me to remove that talisman now?" Zhou instinctively clutched his forehead. "Don't touch it. That thing's keeping me alive." After the two hurried out, Dean's son stood alone, his face darkening. He muttered to himself, "A single piece of paper that can heal spiritual rot. Chinjua, just what are you?" Just then, a nurse came rushing down the hallway, breathless. "Director, emergency. Someone just barged into the hospital, carrying a coffin." Director's son's eyes narrowed. "Where is he? Take me there now." Meanwhile, Zhang Yu was practically dragging Director Zhou through the streets as they rushed toward the Seoul Bureau. "We need to find Li Qingshan ASAP," Zhou muttered. "He's Chunjua's legal guardian. Now that Chin's caused a mess, only he might be able to talk him down." Ironically, they brushed right past Chinjua, who had just returned in triumph. Watching them rush off, he scratched his head in confusion. Where the hell are they going in such a hurry? A funeral? Then he burst out laughing. "Doesn't matter. The mighty Seoul Bureau, flattened by yours truly." The Wraith system echoed in his tone. "Haha, that's right. We wiped out the whole Seoul Bureau. Bring it on." Suddenly, the Wraith system tensed. "Wait, something's off." A group of doctors had silently formed a line in front of them, all staring directly at Chinjua. Chinjua rolled up his sleeves, his eyes narrowing. "Figures. People in white coats are never up to anything good. You trying to steal my coffin too?" The Wraith system quickly jumped between them, flailing. "Whoa, chill. Chill. Don't punch yet." But instead of attacking, the doctors all shouted in unison, "Welcome home, hero." Turns out, word had spread that Chunjua's little talismans could cure severe cases of dark energy corrosion. Dean's son had arranged a full hero's welcome ceremony. A junior nurse leaned toward him, whispering nervously, "Sir, are you sure this guy will cooperate? Isn't he technically, mentally unstable?" Son replied calmly, "Don't worry. I've reviewed his interactions with Director Zhou. This guy might be the key to solving our ghost house epidemic." With that, he stepped forward, extending both arms in welcome. "Chunjua, our great hero, welcome back. I'm Dean Sun Tong from Jinhai Hospital. Everyone here's heard about how your talismans saved Director Zhou. We'd love to get to know you better." The undead system instantly warned him. "Careful. These lab coats look shady." Chen Zhuan narrowed his eyes. "I don't want friends. Hands off my big coffin." Director Sun sighed, his 3 lonely strands of hair trembling in despair. He gestured to his assistant. Plan A failed. Time for Plan B. 2.5 seconds later, a nurse rolled over a little girl in a wheelchair. The girl looked up with a sweet smile. "Hi, big brother. Are you a real hero?" She excitedly pulled out a piece of candy from her pocket and held it up. "Mr. Hero, can we be friends? I'll give you all my secret candy stash." The undead system scanned her immediately. This kid's also infected with dark energy. Her legs are nerve damaged, so that's their play. They want you to heal her. Chunjua's face darkened. "Damn it, they're using a human child to bait me?" A true intergalactic warrior never sympathizes with enemy offspring. As he hesitated, The little girl once again offered the candy, eyes sparkling with hope. Chunjua clenched his fists. Crap, she's kind of cute. I'm gonna crack. He finally took the candy. The undead system lost it. You idiot. You're so eager to heal others. How about curing your own madness first? Chunjua stared at the candy, turning it over in his hand. Suddenly, his expression sharpened. He tossed it into the air and began chanting. The candy glowed red madare. The undead system seized the chance and modified its ingredients, transforming it into a powerful healing pill. Tortoise Essence Elixir. As the candy returned to his palm, it shimmered even brighter. The doctors gasped, "Look, that candy is glowing." Just when everyone thought he'd give the candy back to the little girl, Chunjua unwrapped it on the spot and popped it straight into his mouth. The undead system was dumbfounded. "You absolute moron. That candy was for the kid." But Chunjua calmly looked at the girl and said, "Come on, try walking." The girl blinked nervously. But I can't move my legs." The system lost it. "What the hell are you doing? Where are you going to heal her?" Chunj would gently place his hand on her head and said softly, "Hand over the thing you're sitting on, and your legs will listen to you again." The system sighed in disbelief, but had no choice. It activated its powers again to treat the girl. Moments later, Chunjwa encouraged her, "Give it a shot. Try to stand up. Don't be afraid. Big bro's right here." The girl cautiously moved her legs and slowly stood up, only to tumble down in the next second. Director Sun panicked and tried to rush over, but Chunjwa stopped him. "Let her do it on her own. She's got this." The girl struggled for a moment, then stood back up with effort. Her face lit up. "I did it. Big brother, I can walk. I can really walk. Thank you." Director Sun was stunned. His eyes widened, and even his few hairs stood on end. He really did it. Did you guys see that? Did you write everything down? Get your notes out now. Meanwhile, the girl ran up to Chunjua and grabbed his hand. "Thank you, big brother. I can walk again." Snapping out of it, Director Sun barked at his assistant. "Hurry. Bring in another patient now." Meanwhile, over at the Soul Suppression Bureau, Director Zhou had just arrived with Zhang Yuyu and Li Qingshan. Zhang Yuyu looked around in awe. "Whoa, so this is the legendary Soul Suppression Bureau? Fancy." Director Zhou stayed serious. "Of course. This place handles the nation's top-tier supernatural threats. You two, follow my lead and keep your mouths shut. Once we find Chunjua, we get out." "Got it, got it," they both replied in unison. Meanwhile, the red-haired officer, still bruised from Chunjua's beatdown, was furiously scolding his men. "Useless, the lot of you, letting a lunatic waltz in and out like it's a damn amusement park. Not even one hit landed. We're supposed to be cultivators. This is embarrassing." Zhang Yuyu whispered to Director Zhou, Sir, looks like my master didn't get captured at all." Director Zhou gave a slow nod. "Yeah, seems more like he's just hanging out in there." Just then, a familiar voice called out, Well, isn't that Director Zhou? Long time no see. I was just about to call you." It was none other than Luo Yuman, the director of the Soul Suppression Bureau. Luo Yuman warmly welcomed the three into his office and poured them tea. "Seems like you all know Chunjwa pretty well. So tell me, what punishment does he deserve for trespassing into our bureau?" His tone shifted slightly, and the room tensed. Director Zhou immediately responded, "Director Luo, Chunjwa is mentally ill. Legally, he's not responsible for his actions. Plus, he didn't actually harm anyone, did he? Isn't that a bit harsh?" Zhang Yuyu blurted out, "Yeah, and even if you want to charge him, are you sure you can take him in a fight?" Zhou nearly choked on his tea. "Girl, I told you to plead for him, not threaten the director." Surprisingly, Luo just burst out laughing and picked up a detection device from his desk. "Relax, I was joking. No offense taken. I know Chun was a rare talent. But here's what's bugging me. Our previous cultivation scan on him, it said he's just a regular human." All three were shocked. Zhang Yuyu was the first to react. "No way. My master is a beast. How could he be a normal human?" Director Zhou took the detector from Director Luo and nodded. "You want us to run another scan on Chunjua, right?" "No problem. Leave it to me." "Appreciate it, Director Zhou," Luo Yuman replied with a smile. But the moment Zhou's hand touched the detection stone, it suddenly lit up with a bright orange glow. Luo Yuman raised an eyebrow. Wait a second. Director Zhou, I thought you barely cultivated? When did your level go up? Zhou blinked in confusion. Beats me. I haven't trained at all lately. Zhang Yu leaned in excitedly. Let me try. As soon as she touched the stone, it burst into dazzling light. What the heck? I'm a tier 2 cultivator now? That's impossible. I was a total normie 6 months ago. Director Zhou suddenly had a realization. I get it now. You drank that bottled water Chunjua gave you, right? Yeah, I did. And I must have gotten juiced up from that weird talisman he slapped on me. Luo Yuman looked thoughtful. So anyone who's had contact with Chen ends up leveling up without realizing it? What kind of cheat code is this guy running? Zhou quickly handed the detector to Li Qingshan. Dean Li, you've spent the most time with him. Come on, maybe you've awakened too. Give it a go. Li Qingshan reached out eagerly and placed his hand on the detection stone. The stone gave off only a faint white glow, no reaction whatsoever. Zhang Yu immediately teased. Dean Li, you've spent the most time with my master, but somehow you're even more ordinary than a random stranger. Director Zhou chuckled. Just being close to the spring doesn't mean you'll draw water. You gotta have some talent, man. Li Qingshan, visibly annoyed, yanked off the paper talisman on Zhou's chest. Zhou screamed dramatically. No, that's my precious warding talisman. Took me ages to get it. Luo Yuman picked it up and inspected it with a puzzled look. This is the talisman? It just looks like a doodle on napkin paper. But as he deciphered the writing, his expression shifted. Wait, this is written in ancient ghost script. What the hell? He clutched Director Zhou's hand, eyes wide. Director Zhou, I need to meet Chinjua right now. Please, introduce me. Meanwhile, inside Jinhai Hospital, Chinjua was living like a king, chicken leg in one hand, milk tea in the other, enjoying the royal treatment. A junior assistant quietly whispered to the hospital director, Sir, we've been running in circles all morning and haven't learned squat. Honestly, this guy isn't that hard to handle. Maybe we should just ask him straight up. So the director stepped forward, bowing respectfully. Mr. Chun, your skills are beyond anything we've seen, bringing the dead back to life. Could you perhaps teach us some of your methods? Like that cold water leg revival trick. Shinjua munched on his drumstick and waved him off. You won't get it. My charms are powered by eons of cultivation. You need a few centuries just to scratch the surface. A nearby doctor sighed. You're probably right, but these days, we're seeing more and more cases of terminal energy infections. As doctors, we feel helpless. Mr. Chun, even just a little guidance would mean everything. The hospital director added with determination, if there's any way to reverse this crisis, no matter the cost, I'll do it. The other doctors echoed his words, all eyes on Chunjua with desperate hope. Chunjua thought for a moment, then casually pulled out a yellow-covered book and tossed it over. Here, it's the beginner's guide to demonic expulsion charms. Knock yourselves out. The undead system added solemnly, saving lives is a noble cause. Might as well teach you a thing or two. The hospital director trembled with excitement until he opened the book. Mr. Chun, I can't read a single word in this thing. The system rolled its eyes. Obviously, that's ghost script, language of the spirit realm. If an ordinary human stares at it too long, you could lose your mind or attract malevolent spirits. The director yelped and instantly tossed the book to the floor, backing away in panic. Cold sweat poured down his face. Ghost script. He remembered the legends. These texts were said to be alive with supernatural energy. Chunjua scoffed, picked the book back up, and sneered. See, I knew you'd chicken out. Scared of a few symbols. Whatever, can't blame you. It's your life on the line, after all. He swept his gaze across the room, his tone turning cold. So I'll ask just once more, do you want to learn or not? Silence fell, until one brave soul stepped forward. Director, I'll learn. I've got 2 brothers at home. They can carry on the family name. If my parents ask, tell them I left to save the world. Another doctor followed. Hell yeah, count me in. I've spent my whole life trying to heal people, and now there's a chance to do even more. I'm not backing down. More voices joined in. I'm in 2. Me 3. We all want to learn. The director was visibly moved, his voice shaking. You crazy bastards. You've got guts. He grabbed the ghost script book from Chunjua with both hands, his eyes burning with determination. Mr. Chun, we're ready. No one's backing out. Even the undead system was stunned. Weak as they are, they've got real backbone. Impressive. Didn't see that coming. The hospital director made a snap decision. Everyone, to the conference room. We're holding an emergency meeting right now. As the group began rushing out, a familiar voice called out, stopping Director Sun in his tracks. It was Director Zhou and his team just arriving. Director Sun, what's going on? Why the sudden panic? Zhou asked. Sun's eyes lit up. Director Zhou, you're back. You won't believe it. Chunj was a miracle worker. He cured all our patients suffering from energy contamination, and he even shared a method to drive it out. He turned to the man in glasses and asked respectfully, Is this the director of the Soul Suppression Bureau, Mr. Luo Yuman? Luo gave a slight nod. That's me. How can I help you? Director Sun quickly handed over the yellow book. Director Luo, you're far more experienced than us. Can you take a look at what's written in here? Luo's expression shifted the moment he saw the pages. His hands trembled slightly. This is real ghost script. And not just any. These are expulsion charms. An ancient, long-lost practice. He grabbed Sun by the shoulders, eyes gleaming. Director Sun, this book is invaluable. I'll dispatch soul suppression cultivators immediately to help your staff study it. If these charms really work, if they can purge energy on a large scale, then the tide will finally turn. Humanity could go from surviving to fighting back. Without another word, he threw open Chunjua's door. Inside, the man was still munching on his chicken leg like nothing was happening. Luo stepped in with reverence in his voice. Chunjua, just who are you really? Chunjua sat comfortably in his hospital bed, chicken leg in hand. When the door suddenly slammed open, he frowned in annoyance. Who the heck is this silver-haired cyclops barging in like he owns the place? Ever heard of knocking? The undead system gasped. Whoa, that's a tier 5 cultivator, top of the food chain in the human world. Luo Yuman rushed in with 2 massive bags of snacks, smiling like a politician during an election. Master Chunjua, I'm Director Luo of the Soul Suppression Bureau. I came personally to apologize. Chunjua let out a cold snort and didn't even look up. Then, BEM, he launched a flying kick. You soul suppression goons dared to steal my precious coffin. What you, a bunch of grave-robbing thugs? And you, the head thug, have a nerve to show up here. Luo dodged frantically, waving his hands. Please, Master Chun, calm down. This is all a misunderstanding. Let me explain. But Chunjua wasn't done yet. Just as he was winding up for round 2, Director Zhou and his team rushed in and held him back. Zhou tried to calm him down. Master, wait. It really was a misunderstanding. They didn't mean to touch your big coffin. Luo quickly jumped in, still holding the snacks. Yes. I swear I came to apologize. I even brought your favorite spicy strips, tofu skins, and snail noodles. Chunjua narrowed his eyes. Oh, please. You showing up like a weasel wishing the chicken a happy new year? I'm not buying it. Ow! With that, he gave Luo a swift kick, sending him flying out the door. He slammed it shut behind him with a loud bang, leaving the room in total silence. Chunjua stormed at the trio, fuming. You 3 got bird spit in your eyes or what? Can't even tell good from evil? And you, my dear disciple, you've been hanging out with these clowns? You've broken this master's heart. He pointed at Director Zhou. Hole 7. You've let the humans corrupt you. You've disgraced the honor of the planetary warriors. The trio instantly bowed their heads, begging for mercy. Zhang Yiyu lowered her voice. Master, I was wrong. I was blind and naive. I didn't realize their true nature. Director Zhou spoke solemnly. Oh, brave Hole 1, forgive me. I was injured and confused. I swear, my loyalty has never wavered. Li Qingshan chimed in quickly. I knew that old white-haired guy was shady. He was totally here to steal something. Meanwhile, outside the door, Luo Yuman stood awkwardly, mumbling to himself. This door's got some solid soundproofing. Weren't they supposed to vouch for me? Why do I feel like I'm being slandered? Behind him, two young nurses whispered to each other. Hey, isn't that the director of the Soul Suppression Bureau? What's he doing eavesdropping outside a psych ward? The other nurse frowned. No way. Director Luo? Peeping at patient rooms? Don't be ridiculous. Time flew by, and in the afternoon, Chunjua stood proudly at the gates of the mental hospital, arms raised. Hole 1 has officially recovered and returned home. Director Zhou raised his hands too. Haha, Hole 7 has also recovered and returned. Slam. Li Qingshan slammed the door shut in his face. Zhou blinked. Wait, this isn't even my house. Inside, Li Qingshan led Chunjua down the hall. That's more like it. Chunjua, this is your real home. Qingshan Hospital. What were you doing freeloading at someone else's place? Come on, we even prepared a surprise gift for you. Chunjua's eyes lit up. For real? Don't tell me. Is it the super ultra mega boom boom meat crunch? As Chunjua entered Qingshan Hospital, Luo Yumin leaned toward Director Zhou and whispered, Didn't you say familiar surroundings would make it easier for me to approach him? He's back at Qingshan now, and he still won't even look at me. Zhou replied with a serious tone. Director Luo, chasing after Chunjua takes patience. When I first tried to win him over, it was a nightmare. Trust me, just stick to him like glue. That's the only way. Meanwhile, Li Qingshan led Chunjua to a new room. Chunjua, this one's for you. Spacious, sunny. It's a private suite, personally approved by headquarters. Your very own space. Chunjua squinted. For real? You guys suddenly jumma nice. Zhou swooped in and slung an arm around his shoulder. Of course, it's all headquarters doing. You, Hole 1, are a war hero. You deserve better than bunking with the normies. That did it. Chunjua ran inside, delighted. Woo! This room is like 5 times bigger than my last doghouse. Zhou smirked to himself. Perfect spot, right by the back gate. Easy to sneak out. No more getting blocked by Old Li. Suddenly, Chunjua barked. Hey, what you two standing there for? Go bring over my big coffin. Li Qingshan gave a helpless grin. That's a bronze coffin, bro. You think we're moving that with our bare hands? They gave it a few tries, then surrendered to reality and called for backup. After hours of backbreaking work, a whole crew finally got the coffin moved. Everyone was drenched in sweat, chanting, Heave ho! Heave ho! Meanwhile, Chunjua sat cross-legged in a corner, calmly meditating like a Buddhist monk with zero involvement. That's when Luo Yumin crept in, holding a bag of ice cream and wearing his most humble smile. Master Chun, I brought you some treats. You've been working hard. Thought a little ice cream might help you cool off. Really, it was all a misunderstanding. We at the Soul Suppression Bureau only meant to clean the coffin up a bit. We never intended to take it. Chunjua glanced at him, slightly moved. Huh. The guy might actually be trying. The undead system muttered approvingly, not bad. Looks like this guy might be getting somewhere. Luo Yumin kept buttering him up. Master Chun, even in this blazing heat, you still find time to train. Your dedication is truly inspiring. Chunjua's gaze sharpened. You know you've got some potential, but you clearly lack the essence of true cultivation. The undead system chimed in. Exactly. Cultivation begins with a quiet heart. Ditch the distractions. Embrace focus. Luo immediately sat cross-legged, straightened his posture, closed his eyes, and started breathing along with Chunjua's rhythm. Chunjua began his sermon. To cultivate is to cleanse the soul. Cut your worldly ties. Sever attachments. Leave behind desire and illusion. But all Luo felt was a rising internal heat and zero enlightenment. The undead system sighed. A tear. 5 cultivator willing to listen? That's rare. All right, let's give him a push. With that, it cast a mild hypnotic technique, pulling Luo into the spirit realm. 1 second later, thud. Luo collapsed face first, fast asleep. Chunjua shrugged. Hey, I didn't touch him. He knocked himself out. The system snorted. Useless. A tear. 5 cultivator taken out by a little heat stroke. 2.5 minutes later, Chunjua stood up solemnly. Training is over. Time to protect the foolish masses again. The undead system rolled its eyes. Please, you're only not passed out cause you powered up on 5 ice creams. Meanwhile, Zhang Yuyu was browsing the ice cream freezer outside a convenience store. It's way too hot today. Maybe I should get one for Master too. The moment she made her decision, her vision blurred, and her ice cream vanished into thin air. Turns out, Chunjua had snuck in like a ninja and snatched it right from her hand. The undead system exploded. This is your idea of protecting humans. You little thief, stealing from your own disciple now. Zhang Yuyu sighed and headed back to the convenience store, buying 2 more ice creams. Maybe I can ask the bureau to reimburse this, she muttered bitterly. But the moment she got them, whoosh, a mini tornado blasted past, and the ice creams vanished. Again, she trembled with rage, screaming into the distance, "Master, give me back my ice cream." Chunju was already sprinting away, ice cream in mouth, laughing like a maniac. Huh, my beloved disciple's mad now. The undead system joined in gleefully. Faster, faster. She's gaining on you. After several rounds of this absurd chase, Chunjua finally collapsed onto his bed. Phew, protecting my disciple really drains me. Gotta rest. The system groaned. You mean running away while stealing snacks? And don't forget who gave you the speed boost, you ungrateful brat. Just as Chunjua was dozing off, the system muttered sarcastically, "You sure you can sleep without fatties snoring in the background?" Of course I can," Chunjua replied, and then began snoring like a thunderstorm 2 seconds later. Outside, the full moon turned crimson, casting an eerie red glow across the sky. At the hospital gate, the night guard was locking up, grumbling to himself. So that soul suppression guy, Luo something, added Nurse Shout-Out on socials, huh? Damn, I didn't think I'd have romantic rivals at my age. He failed to notice the ghostly silhouette creeping up behind him. Suddenly, the shadow stepped into view. The guard froze, eyes rolling back as he collapsed, foaming at the mouth. It was the puppet master. He smashed through the hospital gates, marched in like he owned the place, and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Where's Chunjua? I'm here for him." Meanwhile, inside the hospital, Chunjua jolted awake. His eyes flared red as he muttered, "It's here." The undead system blinked. "Wait, what is here?" The little ghost girl tilted her head. "You mean that Lady Ghost outside? She's been following you for a while now." Outside the window, a single eye peered through the grass, silently watching. But the moment it heard Chunjua mention getting rid of her, the eye twitched, showing a flicker of panic. Chunjua's tone turned grim. "Not her. It's the demon sealed inside me. It's waking up." The ghost girl immediately asked, "Chunjua, are you okay?" The undead system gasped. "Wait, don't tell me this is because of all that ice cream you ate earlier." Then it broke into a mocking laugh. "Stealing that many ice creams. Karma hit fast, huh?" Gurgle. Chunjua's stomach let out a monstrous rumble. Both the system and the ghost girl shouted in sync. "Oh no, it's too late." The ghost girl grabbed his hand and dashed toward the bathroom. As they ran, Chunjua roared, "I swear, I will never make peace with the demon inside me." Meanwhile, the ghost girl hiding in the bushes was still daydreaming about how to win Chunjua's heart, completely unaware that the puppet master was creeping up right behind her. The next second, the puppet master suddenly appeared in front of her, casually greeting, "Hey there." The ghost girl nearly exploded, her face distorted in pure horror. After a moment of mental rebooting, she realized he wasn't a ghost. He was a freaking puppet. The puppet master ignored her completely and headed straight for Chunjua's room. The ghost girl stayed crouched in the shadows, trembling and chanting to herself, "He can't see me. He can't see me." But then she remembered what Chunjua once told her, "You're useless. You'll only slow me down." Her expression shifted. "No, I'll prove I'm not a burden. I'll show him I've got value." With renewed resolve, she bolted out of hiding and screamed, "I'll fight you myself." The puppet master merely glanced over his shoulder. That was enough to make her freeze mid-charge, trembling like a wet cat. "You'll maybe later." Meanwhile, inside the restroom, Chunjua shouted triumphantly, "The demon's been exorcised." The undead system deadpanned. "Yeah, more like your intestines exorcise themselves. That's what you get for scarfing down 10 ice creams." Suddenly, a scream echoed inside the empty bathroom. Wah. So scary. Chunjua and the system both froze. Then wham! The ghost girl burst through the wall, shrieking, "Too scary. I almost died again." Chunjua yanked his pants up and roared, "Can you not? I was mid-poop euphoria. Get out of here." The ghost girl waved her arms frantically. "No time. A terrifying corpse just broke into your room. I think it's here to steal your stuff." Chunjua's expression shifted. "What? Someone's trying to mess with my coffin again." The undead system deadpanned. "Who else even wants that thing besides you?" In the next instant, Chunjua bolted out of the bathroom, didn't even bother to wipe. "Hey, at least finish wiping first," the system shouted behind him. "No time. The coffin needs me." Chunjua yelled back. Before the system could respond, he'd already kicked open his room door and screamed, "You coffin-thieving scumbag! That's my treasure." The puppet master froze briefly, then slowly turned around, his joints bending in bizarre, bone-cracking ways. Chunjua pointed furiously. "You dare step into my domain? Prepare to get wrecked." But as soon as he got within striking distance, his feet suddenly slammed on the brakes. The undead system calmly whispered, "That's a puppet master. He fuses dark rituals with human bodies, built like a tank. You won't win head-on." Chunjua forced himself to act tough. "I'm giving you one chance. Leave now, or suffer the wrath of a planetary worry." Before he could finish, his body instinctively took 2 steps back. A small voice came from behind. Senior, why are you backing up? Are you scared of him too?" It was the ghost girl, standing there shaking with a broom in hand. Chunjua snapped. He flicked her forehead with a loud bonk. "Fool, a planetary warrior fears nothing." But the puppet master continued approaching, step by step, eyes locked onto him, chanting in a cold, lifeless tone, "Chun must die, must die." Chunjua trembled all over, stammering out a warning. I'm warning you. I'm super powerful, okay? Don't come any closer." The puppet master ignored him completely, continuing his slow, menacing advance. Suddenly, Chunjua pinched his nose. "Ugh, what is that stench? That's disgusting." He turned around and started dry heaving like crazy, just as the puppet master lunged forward and missed entirely. The ghost girl gasped in awe. "Senior, that was amazing. You dodged so smoothly." Chunjua blinked. "Wait, he tried to hit me?" The puppet master let out a furious roar and charged at them like a living missile. Chunjua and the ghost girl turned and bolted. The undead system calmly analyzed, "That puppet still contains fragments of a living soul. Truly wicked stuff. To neutralize it, we need the controller, probably within a 1-kilometer range." But Chunjua wasn't listening. He was too busy screaming while running. Yeah, analyze all you want. I'm saving my own, but first." As they ran, the ghost girl whispered, "So, he's only chasing Senior? That's kind of romantic." 2.5 minutes into the chase, Chunjua finally snapped. "All right, I've had enough of this. You think I'm scared of you?" Instantly, the undead system activated its power, transforming his crappy mop into a spirit-infused willow weapon. Chunjua didn't hesitate. He swung the mop like a baseball bat, whack, right into the puppet master's temple. The puppet flew across the hallway and slammed into the wall. Chunjua stood tall, mop over shoulder, smirking coldly. "Is that all you got? Didn't I warn you not to mess with me?" The very next second, boom, a deafening explosion rocked the hallway. Flames erupting, smoke billowing everywhere. The undead system quickly warned, "Heads up, that puppet body's tough as hell. He's not done yet." Sure enough, as the smoke cleared, the puppet master was lying flat on the ground, completely intact. Suddenly, he let out a blood-curdling roar as cracks began spreading across his body. Chunjua squinted. "Wait, why is he cracking open like a watermelon?" Before the system could answer, kaboom, the puppet master self-destructed without warning. Chunjua instinctively shielded his face with his mop, only for the mop to instantly burst into flames. When the fire died down, Chunjua stood there covered in soot, fuming. He smacked the floor with his flaming mop and shouted, "This is a hospital. No open flames allowed." He began sweeping the floor aggressively, muttering nonsense. The system frowned. "What are you even doing now?" making up another dumb move. 2.5 minutes later, the undead system's eyes widened. Wait, are you actually forming a seal? Okay, fine, I'll help. With a flash of power, the system activated circle lockdown over the glowing ring Chunjua had swept, instantly sealing the puppet master within a glowing trap. In that very instant, a beam of light shot down from the sky, trapping the puppet master within a glowing seal. Chunjua chuckled triumphantly. "Heh, you're stuck now, sucker." The ghost girl came rushing over, beaming. "Senior, you're amazing." Chunjua puffed out his chest. "Of course. We planetary warriors fear nothing." The undead system sighed. "Every day feels like a live-action sitcom with this lunatic. Thank goodness I've got fast reflexes, or I'd be toast." Inside the glowing trap, the puppet master began growling, a strange, muffled gargling sound. Then out of nowhere, he dropped to his knees and croaked, "Please kill me." Chunjua blinked, completely thrown off. Huh. A ghostly projection emerged from the puppet master's body, his soul, bound in chains, trembling within the rotten husk. "Please, I beg you, end this suffering." The ghost girl tugged on Chunjua's sleeve. "Senior, he's suffering. Please help him." The undead system explained. He was forcibly turned into a puppet. His soul's trapped in a rotting corpse, can't live, can't die. It's torture. Hearing that, Chunjua fell silent for a moment, then slowly approached the trapped puppet. He crouched down and asked, "These chains on you, someone bullied you, didn't they?" The ghost's soul nodded weakly. Chunjua raised his hand dramatically. "Then it's time you bullied them back." Without hesitation, he grabbed one of the chains and pulled hard. The undead system panicked. "What? Dude, you're out of your damn mind again." "This guy's unbelievable," it muttered, but still activated its powers reluctantly. With a booming break, command, and a sharp snap, the soul chain shattered. The puppet's soul stared in disbelief, then burst into tears, dropping to its knees in gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. I'm finally free." Chunjua instantly went full drama king, striking a grand pose as he declared, "From this moment on, you're free and 10 times stronger." The undead system was deadpan. "What kind of nonsense is that? And guess who has to clean up after you?" Still, it gave in and unleashed a beam of golden light, temporarily boosting the puppet master's power. The puppet howled as the light engulfed him. Moments later, he emerged towering and jacked, muscles rippling like a bodybuilder on steroids. The undead system sighed, defeated. "I can't believe I'm a top-tier system, and now I'm out here upgrading ghosts. What a joke." Watching the transformed puppet, Chunjua puffed up his chest and shouted, "Now go get your revenge. But don't think bulking up makes you scary. Try touching my coffin again, and I'll beat the crap out of you." The puppet master bowed respectfully and shuffled off, mumbling a raspy thank you. Meanwhile, outside Qingshan Mental Hospital, Director Zhou was furiously pedaling his rusty bike, sweating bullets. Suddenly, a honk blared behind him. It was Director Luo, driving up like a bat out of hell in the middle of the night. The two exchanged a quick nod, and without another word, sprinted full speed toward Chunjua's room. Along the way, Luo kept hyping Chunjua up and saying, "Don't worry, leave this mess to the Soul Suppression Bureau. We'll handle it. You go back to your cozy police station." Director Zhou stood firm. "Dong Dong Yao is my trusted comrade. No one's stealing him from me." 2.5 minutes later, both men finally arrived at Chunjua's door, panting. Just as they were about to knock, the little girl and Hoopa suddenly appeared, blocking their way with cold expressions. "He's sleeping. No one gets in." Director Luo flashed his Soul Suppression Bureau badge with a friendly smile. "Hi there. You must be Master Chen's ghost assistants. We're here on official business. Just need to ask him a few questions." The two ghosts snorted in unison, standing their ground without the slightest intention of moving. Director Zhou quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. "Come on, little girl. I'm Dong Dong Chi. Chun, she was good, buddy. Let's in, will you?" She hesitated, then reluctantly moved aside, recalling that Chunjua seemed to trust this old man. The two directors squeezed their way to Chunjua's giant coffin and tried shouting to wake him. But no matter how loud they were, he kept snoring like a hibernating bear. Desperate, they tried pushing the coffin, but it wouldn't budge an inch. Luo frowned. Weird. Did this thing get heavier? Guess our master chins out cold, literally. Zhou, dripping with sweat, gasped. This is hopeless. We're not waking him up. Just then, hurried footsteps echoed outside the door. Director, urgent news. There's a fire near Manhwa complex. Possible ghost-related incident. Luo's expression hardened as he exchanged a glance with Zhou. Let's head to the scene. Fast. Zhou nodded, and the two darted off without hesitation. Meanwhile, deep inside Manhwa complex, a robed Taoist was chanting incantations, clutching a talisman in one hand and a peachwood sword in the other. His two disciples whispered nervously, Senior brother, doesn't Master seem a bit off today? No sooner had the words left their mouths than the Taoist suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes widened in fury. Damn it, someone broke my control spell. That puppet master is no longer under my command. One of the disciples gasped. Impossible. Puppet magic is a high-level secret art of the heavenly demon sect. Who could possibly undo it? The Taoist's expression turned grim. It must be some twisted lunatic with dark arts. We'll retrieve the soul first, then deal with that maniac. Just as they prepared to move, heavy footsteps echoed from outside. The puppet master had already arrived at their door. The two disciples trembled, one whispering in terror, Master, run. He's here. The Taoist turned and froze. That's the puppet? No, something's changed. His aura. Its fourth-tier, late-stage, evil spirit. With a roar, the puppet master stormed into the stronghold, unleashing his wrath on the demon cult. In seconds, the entire complex was engulfed in eerie green flames. Panic broke out among the residents. What the hell? Where did this fire come from? Is it really ghosts? When directors Zhou and Luo arrived, they were stunned by the strange flames lighting up the night. Luo's face turned grim. This is karmic fire, fueled by trapped souls. It won't die out unless the caster's karmic chain is completely severed. Without hesitation, he barked an order. Director Zhou, clear the area. I'm setting up a sealing formation. As Zhou hustled to evacuate the crowd, he failed to notice a familiar face watching from the shadows. The same Taoist, now blending into the onlookers, eyes cold and vengeful. The young disciple of the heavenly demon sect stood frozen, tears streaming down his face as he stared at the blazing green flames. Master, senior brother, rest in peace. I swear I'll avenge you. Just 2.5 hours earlier, the puppet master had stormed into the sect's hideout, seeking bloody revenge. Caught off guard, the sect members panicked. The elder in yellow robes drew his peachwood sword and barked, "Stay calm. If I killed him once, I'll kill him again." With a flick of his hand, he activated a secret technique, ordering the disciples to swarm the puppet master. For a while, they had the upper hand, but in a desperate last stand, the puppet master ignited his own soul, forcefully ascending to fourth-tier evil spirit. In a blaze of fury, he burned through their formation, taking the elder down with him. The young disciple watched helplessly, eyes full of grief. Thanks to his senior brother's last-minute protection, he barely escaped. As he stood mourning, a voice suddenly interrupted. "Hey, little Taoist, why the tears? Did your house catch fire or something?" Chunjua had strolled up, confused, tilting his head as he stared at the crying boy. The disciple was caught off guard and stammered. "And no, it's not that." Chunjua glanced around at the chaos and smirked. "Oh, I get it. You're just here for the spectacle?" "Same here, buddy." Suddenly, Chunjua spotted some familiar faces in the crowd. "Hey, isn't that Dong Dong Chi and old white hair?" He clapped the disciple on the shoulder with a grin. "Lucky for you. I know folks in both the Spirit Patrol and Soul Suppression Bureau. Come on, I'll get you a front row seat." The disciple panicked. "No, really, I'm fine right here." But Chunjua was already dragging him forward cheerfully. "Nonsense. Don't be shy." Director Zhou turned around and lit up with joy. "Dong Dong Yao, you're finally here." Director Luo also stepped forward, beaming. "Master Chun, thank heavens you've come." The young Taoist, still being dragged by Chunjua, looked completely confused. Who was this guy? Why are the Soul Suppression Bureau agents being so respectful? Wait, did he already realize I'm from the Heavenly Demon Sect? Flustered, the disciple quickly said, I just remembered something urgent at home. Gotta go. But Chinjua frowned. What? We just got to the front row to enjoy the show. The young man struggled to pull away. I told you I didn't want to come. You dragged me here. In the scuffle, the demon sect's sigil behind his collar became visible. Director Luo and Director Zhou spotted it instantly. That's the Heavenly Demon Sect's mark. Without hesitation, Zhou tackled him to the ground. I knew it. You're the one stirring up all this chaos. Luo shouted, don't move. Since you came here yourself, don't expect to leave. Chunjua blinked in confusion. Wait, what's going on? Luo gave Chun a thumbs up. Master Chun, you really are something. How did you know he was a spy? Chunjua scratched his head sheepishly. You're praising me again. The undead system grumbled. Unbelievable, it actually worked. Total dumb luck. Suddenly, a thunderous boom erupted behind them. A pillar of green fire shot into the sky. Panic screams filled the air. Earthquake. Everyone run. Luo turned to Chun, panic creeping into his voice. Master Chun, can you extinguish this ghost fire? The Soul Suppression Bureau will owe you big time. Meanwhile, the undead system completed its scan. This isn't ordinary fire. It's karmic flame triggered by the puppet master's death. Zhou leaned in and whispered, Dong Dong Yao. Director Luo's been at this for hours and barely made a dent. He's out of options. Chunjua crossed his arms and snapped, Hey Dong Dong Chi, how could you talk behind his back like that? At least white hair knows how to wave his hands around and look useful. What do you do? Suck up and stir air. Zhou looked aggrieved after the scolding and muttered, Well, I admit I'm not that strong. If I were like you, Dong Dong Yao, the planet wouldn't have sent me to be your assistant. Chunjua rolled his eyes. You're not just weak. You're the MVP of mediocrity. Then he flicked Luo on the forehead. And you're a total muggle. Told you to practice. What happened? Director Luo scratched his head, forcing a smile. You're right, Master. I'm just not gifted, but about this fire, what should we do? The undead system interjected, exasperated. Enough stalling. The puppet master can't hold out much longer. Chunjua struck a heroic pose. Fine. Leave it to the planet's bravest warrior, Dong Dong Yao. Seeing Chan was about to make a move, Luo whispered to Zhou, I'm going in to witness the master's method firsthand. You wait here. Zhou protested. No way. I'm going too. The two shouted in unison. Dong Dong Yao, wait for us. Chunjua looked back at them and scoffed. If you really insist, don't slow me down. Zhou stuck a talisman on his forehead while muttering nervously. So this is ghost fire. Creepy stuff. As they entered the blazing area, they saw two spirits locked in a fierce aerial duel. Luo murmured in awe. To give up reincarnation for revenge. That's some deep hatred. The undead system added calmly. The puppet master chose the path of vengeance. The enemy must be the dark cultivator who once enslaved him. Shin looked down at a charred patch of ground. What's this black mess? The system replied, scorch marks left by karmic fire. Nothing remains, not even bones. Shin shouted up at the fighting spirits, annoyed. Hey, no open flames indoors. You're grown men, act like it. The yellow-robed Taoist exploded in rage and lunged at him. Chunjua, you ruined everything. Die with my disciple. Chen responded with a single casual slap that sent the Taoist flying across the room. The puppet master froze mid-air, utterly stunned. Chen walked up to him. Didn't I tell you? No fire indoors. The puppet master lowered his head. Sorry. Chen scolded him harshly. If sorry fixed everything, we wouldn't need the police. Were they professional apologizers? The undead system added coldly. Exactly. We gave you freedom, and you chose self-destruction. Pathetic. The yellow-robed Taoist trembled with fury and roared. You killed my disciple, and now dare to ignore me? Even if I perish, I'll take you all with me. With that, he lunged forward, launching another deadly strike at Chunjua. Luo shouted in panic, Master Chun, watch out. He's going all in. But before the attack could reach Chun, A golden blur shot forward like lightning. It was the puppet master, the very one Chun and the undead system had scolded earlier, throwing himself in front of Chun to block the attack. The Taoist's face twisted in rage. "You cursed abomination. Still getting in my way? Why won't you just die? Don't touch him," the puppet master roared back. In the next instant, the two spirits launched skyward, locked in a deadly clash. The undead system gasped, "No, he's burning his soul again. He's trying to take the Taoist down with him." Chun frowned, frustrated. "Why fight to the death? Just run, you fool. Damn it, I've got to help him." Sensing danger, the Taoist began gathering soul energy and shouted maniacally, "If I'm going down, I'm taking you all with me." The undead system warned urgently. He's preparing to self-destruct. As Zhou and Luo braced for impact, ready to meet their end, nothing happened. At the last second, the puppet master had surged forward and contained the Taoist's explosive energy with his own body. The undead system, voice low, murmured he absorbed the blast, but that means he's done for. 2.5 seconds later, the golden-purple orb hanging in the air shattered into pieces. Chunshua stepped toward the fading remnants of the puppet master's soul, sighing, "You foolish muggle. What were you showing off for? With me here, was there any need for that?" The puppet master murmured weakly, "I'm sorry." Chun waved his hand dismissively. "Forget it. If there's a next life, come find me again." The puppet master forced a faint smile. Just as he reached out to touch Chun, his form crumbled into particles of light, dissolving into the night. Chun stood silently, watching the remnants drift away, his eyes briefly clouded with something deeper than usual sarcasm. Zhou leaned toward Luo and asked softly, "Luo, when a soul disperses like that, there's no reincarnation, right?" Luo nodded solemnly. "No second chance. That's it." The undead system added with a faint sigh. "At least the evil's been purged. That's something." But a second later, Chunjua reverted to his usual smug self, hands on hips and laughing. "See? Told you. Planetary warrior Dong Dong Yao saves the day again, putting out fires like a boss." The undead system sighed. "Yeah, whatever you say, Chief." Director Zhou and Luo Yumin stood speechless. For a moment, they were kind of jealous. "Being insane actually looks kind of relaxing," Zhou muttered. "Right? Kind of peaceful," Luo replied. Zhou immediately snapped back into politician mode, rushing forward. "Hole 1. That was incredible. You wiped out that freaky fire in one move." Chunjua puffed out his chest. "Of course. I'm the greatest warrior on the entire planet." Not to be outdone, Luo Yumin chimed in. "Absolutely. You broke the puppet curse, redeemed a lost soul, fought the demon cult, and did it with style. You're a living miracle." Without hesitation, he stepped in front of Zhou and looked Chunjua dead in the eye. "Master Chun, your brilliance has won me over. Join the Soul Suppression Bureau." Zhou's face dropped. "Hey, are you seriously trying to poach him right in front of me? Chunjua is our secret weapon." The two glared at each other, then turned to Chunjua. "Well, what do you say?" Chunjua lazily picked at his nose. "Promotions, departments, whatever. I'm not going anywhere. A planetary warrior doesn't eat grass in some bandit hideout." The undead system muttered, "You mean join the bandits, not eat grass, genius." Chunjua proudly dusted off his shirt, ready to leave, but Luo wasn't about to give up so easily. Just then, the crowd outside erupted in cheers. "Look, our hero's coming out. That blonde guy. I saw him go in with the director. He's a beast. Put out that creepy fire like it was nothing. Seriously, what a champ. He's the pride of the whole Yanhuan neighborhood." Chunjua beamed with pride as the crowd sang his praises. The undead system chuckled. "Well, looks like you finally did something good today." Luo Yumin jumped at the chance to persuade him. "Master Chun, the people adore you. Join the Soul Suppression Bureau, and you'll be a national superhero overnight." But Chunjua waved him off impatiently. "Superheroes need freedom, you know. I'm Dong Dong Yao, planetary warrior. I walk alone." Then, without warning, he sprinted forward and leapt off the platform. The crowd gasped. He jumped. Was that Monkey King technique? Chunjua landed in a dramatic pose, hands on his hips. Screams erupted from the crowd, mostly teenage girls. OMG, he's so cool. The undead system sighed, muttering, attempt #2 for 36 to cure host's mental illness failed. Zhou glanced sideways at Luo Yuman. Old Luo, are you sure you guys can handle someone like Chanjua? Unsurprisingly, that night's headline blared across every screen. Flame hero Chanjua saves Yanhua district. Public cheers erupt. As Chanjua scrolled through the article, he mumbled, so this is what it means to be a hero. The little girl tilted her head. I'm not sure. The undead system replied seriously, a hero protects the weak and always chooses to do the right thing. The girl thought long and hard, then gave up with a sweet smile. Well, I think everything you do is right. Chanjua scratched his head. So, should I join the bureau or not? I honestly don't know. Cut to Jinhai Hospital, the tired night shift doctor grumbled while walking the halls. Seriously? Zhang ditched me again? Why'd I always get stuck doing more rounds? This place is creepy as hell. Just as she was wrapping up, a loud click echoed through the silence. Cold chamber drawer number 37 slid open on its own. A chill crept down her spine as icy air spilled out. She forced a smile, murmuring to herself, probably just faulty hinges. Totally not haunted, just as she was turning to leave. The morgue's main door suddenly slammed open with a loud bang. She spun around, heart racing, and shouted, Zhang, this isn't funny. But instead of a prankster, standing behind her was a zombie, with a twisted face and the stench of death oozing from its mouth. She let out a terrified scream and fell back to the ground, her face drained of color. The corpse, labeled number 37, slowly stepped forward. A cold metal tag clinked around its ankle. Then, with a spine-chilling grin, it extended its tongue and smiled at her.